Chapter 158, A Deal with the First Elder, 2. Swear, don't lie to me, Feng Moran said in disbelief. I'm not lying to you. It's not convenient to talk here. I'll tell you in detail when you go to the general's mansion, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Big brother Feng actually doesn't believe me. Ooh, it makes me so sad. Okay, I'll see you off. He originally wanted to go back today, but he still had some things to settle. After settling the things here, he would immediately go to the general's mansion. Feng Moran saw her off for a long time. And in the end, Leng Ruoxue had to chase him back. Swear, what deal did you make with the Feng family's first elder? Freak asked curiously after they returned to the general's mansion. 100 remolding pills. Is that all? Well, this wasn't difficult for Swear. Moreover, he wasn't surprised that the Feng family's first elder agreed. After all, 100 remolding pills would definitely be enough to remold the younger generation of the Feng family. Freak, the Feng family still wants to form an alliance with me, Leng Ruoxue continued and conveniently explained her conversation with the first elder in the house to Freak. The first elder really profited this time, Freak said a little angrily. Freak, he's already an old man, Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. How can he be jealous of an old man? Swear, the 7th prince is still in the dungeon. Hurry up and get rid of him, or we'll have to raise him and waste the money of our general's mansion. Freak changed the topic and reminded her. The 7th prince was more of an eyesore than a bad old man. Let's go to the dungeon to take a look after lunch. She had locked the 7th prince up for several days and didn't know what he was like now. With this in mind, she couldn't help feeling a little expectant. After lunch, Leng Ruoxue and Freak went to the dungeon where the 7th prince was locked up. Leng Ruoxue looked at the 7th prince in the cell and almost thought she had entered the wrong place. Is this really that noble 7th prince? In the cell, the 7th prince had tattered clothes, disheveled hair that looked like straw, and dust covered his face that was black and blue all over. What's going on? She remembered clearly that she didn't ask anyone to torture him. Did someone sneak into the cell and swap the 7th prince? Thinking of this, Li Yu! Leng Ruoxue suddenly shouted. Leng Ruoxue! Let me out! Let me out! Sitting on the ground, Li Sun suddenly raised his head and yelled at Leng Ruoxue. He didn't want to stay here. He was the noble 7th prince. How could he stay in a cell? It seems to still be the 7th prince, just that his eyes are a little unfocused. His mental endurance must have reached its limit. As expected of a pampered prince. He's already become like this after just a few days. So useless. Leng Ruoxue thought disdainfully. Do you really want to go out? Leng Ruoxue asked coldly. Yes, I want to go out. I want to go out. Li Yu roared like a madman. You can still live if you stay here. Do you think you would still be able to live? Leng Ruoxue reminded. She felt that she was too kind to think so much for her enemy. No, I won't die. Imperial father will protect me. Anea. She is the most favored eldest young lady of the Su family. She won't let others kill me, the 7th prince said as if he was talking to himself. Your father can't even protect himself, so how can he protect you? As for Su Nair, it's impossible for her to care about your life and death because the Su Nair you miss is already dead. Leng Ruoxue really didn't want to break his beautiful dream. But a dream was a dream, and people always had to face reality. No, you're lying to me. You're lying to me. My imperial father will protect me. And Nair won't die. How can she die? Li Yu didn't believe Leng Ruoxue at all. Suddenly, his eyes became sharp and fierce. He glared at Leng Ruoxue fiercely and said, It's you. It must be you. What did you do to Nair? You must have caused Nair's death. You vicious woman with a snake's heart, I won't let you go. Li Yu screamed crazily. His eyes were bloodshot, and the veins on his face bulged. He had entered a peak state of madness. Do you really think your Nair is good? To tell you the truth, she died on Feng Qingren's bed. The cause of her death was excessive indulgence. Leng Ruoxue despised men like Li Yu who ran away from reality and were unwilling to face reality, so she could only kind-heartedly wake him up. Feng Qingren? No, you're lying to me. Tell me you're lying. Nair isn't that kind of woman. She isn't. Li Yu wilted. This blow was too great for him. He really couldn't accept the woman he loved dying on another man's bed. She isn't? If she wasn't, then no one is, Yichen said coldly. Li Yu is really a useless man. He was actually fooled by a woman, but he actually treated that slut as a holy goddess. He really deserves to be fooled. She isn't. She isn't. After hearing what Yichen said, Li Yu's head hung down. He didn't react for a while and just kept repeating this sentence. Freak, let's go. Leng Ruoxue turned her head to look at Freak. She really didn't have the mood to torture Li Yu at all after seeing him in this state of death. She clearly didn't do anything yet, but Li Yu couldn't bear it. Such a person was truly trash. Okay. Don't go. Don't go. Li Yu finally reacted and hurriedly pleaded, but no one bothered with him. Schwer, what should we do with Li Yu? Freak asked with a headache after leaving the dungeon. Give him back to Li Yuan. Wouldn't that be letting him off too lightly? Freak said with some dissatisfaction. How can we let him off lightly? Do you think Li Yuan will let him go? His fate will be much worse if he falls into Li Yuan's hands than staying in ours. Leng Ruoxue didn't think Li Yuan would treat him as his younger brother. He would torture him in all sorts of ways. That's true. But Schwer, you haven't even avenged yourself yet. I'm really unwilling to return him like this. Freak complained. Chapter 159. A Deal with the First Elder, 3. There's no joy in taking revenge in his current state, Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. But what if he's pretending? Freak really couldn't believe that a noble prince's heart was so fragile. Every person in an imperial family or aristocratic family was devious. People like Li Yu couldn't survive unless they were especially favored and protected. I'm not in the mood. Let Li Yuan try. Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. That's fine, Freak echoed. But just to be safe, he thought it would be better to prescribe some medicine to Li Yu beforehand. Better to act than to be tempted. After dinner, Leng Ruoxue and Freak brought Li Yu straight to the palace. In the imperial study. What does this mean? Li Yuan was sitting on the dragon throne while looking at Leng Ruoxue in confusion. We're here to return the person, Leng Ruoxue explained lightly. There's no need to return him, Li Yuan said generously. He didn't want this person. It won't be difficult to borrow him again, so I'll return him to you first. Leng Ruoxue said very carefully. She wouldn't want this trash even if she could get money for him. After listening to Leng Ruoxue, Li Yuan was at a loss for words. Does she intend to borrow him again in the future? I'm giving this person to you. There's no need to go through all this trouble. Li Yuan really didn't want to take over. But I don't have a place to put him, and I would have to waste my money to support him. Leng Ruoxue's expression showed that there was no room for negotiation. She was definitely going to return him. I'll pay. I don't want him even if I can get money, Leng Ruoxue added, interrupting Li Yuan. Li Yuan was helpless, really helpless. By the way, why did he become like this? Li Yuan asked curiously while looking at the unconscious Li Yu, who had been thrown to the ground like a dead dog. It didn't look like he was tortured. His mental fortitude is a bit weak. I just told him what happened recently. That's all, Leng Ruoxue said innocently. It really isn't my fault. Oh. Come, lock him in the dungeon. Li Yuan nodded understandingly and then ordered the eunuch beside him. Yes, Your Majesty. Then the eunuch left the imperial study. Since it's done, we'll leave now, Leng Ruoxue said frankly. About Ruoxue, your big sister Mo has been talking about you. Since you're here, go see her. Li Yuan said thoughtfully. Okay, I'll go see big sister Mo then, Leng Ruoxue said respectfully. Did Li Yuan especially tell me this because something happened? Schwer, are we going to see Mo Inoue? Freak asked softly after they walked out of the imperial study and into the imperial garden. Let's go take a look. Leng Ruoxue knew that everything had been going smoothly since Li Yuan became the emperor. After all, no one dared to object with the approval of the old patriarch. After Mo Inoue became the mother of the country, she moved to the Phoenix Algae Palace. Leng Ruoxue and Freak were familiar with the Phoenix Algae Palace and found it without difficulty. Big Sister Mo. Lung Ruoxue saw that no one was stopping her after entering the Phoenix Algae Palace, so she walked directly into the inner hall with Freak. Ruoxue, why do you have time to visit Big Sister? Mo Inoue, who was eating, said happily when she saw Lung Ruoxue. She hurriedly put down her chopsticks, stood up, walked to Lung Ruoxue's side, and pulled her to sit down together. Yichin, do whatever you want. Mo Inoue said warmly. Okay. Yichin casually found a chair and sat down. Sister Mo, we are here to return Liu, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She wouldn't say anything hypocritical such as she came specially to see Mo Inoue. I know you only came to see Big Sister as a slight detour. Mo Inoue sighed. This girl wouldn't have come to the palace if there was nothing. But she really liked Lung Ruoxue's character of distinguishing gratitude and grudges. Did anything displeasing happen recently, Big Sister Mo? Lung Ruoxue went straight to the point. This had to be why Li Yuan asked her to come. A little. Mo Inoue said with a troubled expression. Big Sister tell me about it. Recently, some ministers have been having designs on His Majesty, Mo Inoue said very implicitly, finding it difficult to say. Just that. Lung Ruoxue was not impressed. She thought it was something big, but it was actually the easiest to solve. This isn't a trivial matter. It concerns the stability of the country. Mo Inoue was in a very difficult position. Big Sister Mo, does this world venerate the strong? Lung Ruoxue suddenly asked. Of course. Mo Inoue was puzzled. What does Ruoxue mean? In that case, why care so much about the words of those ministers? As long as the old patriarch of the imperial family supports you, I don't believe anyone will dare to have any other thoughts, Lung Ruoxue said very firmly. But, Big Sister Mo, no one is willing to share their husband with other women. At worst, well, destroy whoever steals him. If it doesn't work in the open, you can do it in the dark. You are the mother of a country and the first wife. Can't you handle a few mistresses? Lung Ruoxue encouraged. She hated women who sacrificed themselves too much and even lost their dignity for a cheap man. I hope Li Yuan isn't a man who likes the new and hates the old. Otherwise, I will definitely make him regret it. Ruoxue, you don't understand. There are also people in my family who have such thoughts, so, Mo Inoue really didn't know what to do. If she lost the support of her family because of this matter, then she would definitely be forced to give up the position of empress. She didn't care about being the empress, but she couldn't give up her husband. Who? Lung Ruoxue asked coldly. My cousin, Mo Inoue answered honestly. Schwer looks so scary. A woman with designs on her brother-in-law deserves to die. Lung Ruoxue complained in her head. But this was Big Sister Mo's family affair after all, and it was hard for her to say anything as an outsider. Chapter 160, You Don't Know How to Treat a Beauty Well, 1. I've always thought that Big Sister Mo is a smart person, so I believe you will handle it well, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. It was difficult even for a fair official to settle family affairs. Moreover, she was only an outsider. But she believed that with her support and encouragement, those women who wanted to be mistresses would definitely not be a match for Mo Inoue. Yes, I won't let those women succeed, Mo Inoue said resolutely. With Ruoxue's encouragement, her fighting spirit immediately soared. She would never let other women snatch her man away. Never. Big Sister Mo, it's getting late. Well, get going. All right, I'll see you out. Mo Inoue hurriedly stood up. Big Sister Mo, you don't have to be so polite, Lung Ruoxue declined. I can't bear little sister Ruoxue leaving, Mo Inoue said with a smile, her mood already adjusted. Mo Inoue sent Lung Ruoxue and Yichin out of the Phoenix Algae Palace. She only turned back reluctantly after they disappeared on Quill's back. After returning to the general's mansion, Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to the living room where Fengde and the others were waiting for them. Mississippi. Fengde, how are the preparations for the Prosperity Pavilion coming along? Lung Ruoxue asked as she sat down on the main seat. Miss, we're almost ready. We can open on time in 3 days, Fengde reported. Oh, right, have you sent out all the invitations? Lung Ruoxue asked. Yes, and the general will be back tomorrow. Got it? It's getting late. Let's go back to our rooms to rest. We'll be busy in a few days. Lung Ruoxue looked up at everyone in the living room. Okay, everyone answered quickly. Freak, I play to enter seclusion these few days to refine a few defensive sacred artifacts for the Prosperity Pavilion. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important, Lung Ruoxue said to Freak after thinking about it. Okay. He nodded reluctantly. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxue directly entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Big sister. Qingju appeared in front of her. Qingju. Lung Ruoxue picked up the pink toddler and pinched his tender little cheeks. Big sister, you're taking advantage of me again. Qingju pouted his pink lips in complaint. Of course not. Lung Ruoxue put Qingju down awkwardly. Why does this damn child look so cute for no reason? Which adult doesn't want to pinch such a cute little thing? Girl, it turns out that you are so perverted too, the shiny butterfly said as if it had just found a comrade. Pervert your head. Lung Ruoxue said angrily as she swatted the very tactless butterfly away. Boo. Girl, you are too crude. As a girl, you have to be gentle, or else you won't be able to find a husband. The butterfly that was knocked away flew back again and advised her earnestly. Get lost. Lung Ruoxue couldn't bear it anymore. What kind of rubbish butterfly is this? Girl. The butterfly looked at the furious Lung Ruoxue with tears in its eyes, not knowing what was going on. It didn't think it did anything wrong. It was telling the truth. Qingju, big sister is going to refine artifacts. I'll leave this damn butterfly to you, Lung Ruoxue said to Qingju and then walked directly into the purple bamboo house. Okay, Qingju said as he looked at the aggrieved butterfly. In fact, there was nothing he could do with this butterfly. He had locked it up countless times, but he couldn't keep it locked up at all. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but size up the butterfly carefully. Why are you looking at me like that? I'll be shy, the butterfly said coquettishly. Qingju's face darkened. He raised his small hand and directly locked the thick-skinned butterfly into the space cage he set up. But the butterfly flew back in no time. Qingju looked at the palm-sized butterfly dejectedly. But how is this possible? Every corner of the Heaven and Earth bracelet was within his control, but he just couldn't do anything to this butterfly. He was an artifact spirit. As the spirit of a divine artifact, his level was countless times higher than this damn butterfly's. But the result was very cruel. He couldn't deny that this butterfly had dealt him a blow. After Lung Ruoxue entered the refining room in the purple bamboo house, she didn't start refining immediately. Instead, she first conceptualized the artifacts she wanted to refine. Besides defensive sacred artifacts, she had to refine a copy of each of the items being used in the general's mansion, which she had refined based on things from her previous life. There were also hot pots. After thinking about it, she realized that she had a lot of things to refine. Lung Ruoxue prepared the materials for various artifacts and equipment and then focused on refining the things she needed. When Lung Ruoxue finished refining and left the Heaven and Earth bracelet, 2 days had passed outside. Freak, why are you sitting here? Lung Ruoxue opened the door and saw Freak sitting on the stone steps outside her room, looking pitiful. Schwer. He looked up, and his diamond-like bright eyes had 2 streams of tears as he looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully. What happened? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Grandpa came back with a stunningly beautiful man and a bad old man, he explained softly. Then what? Lung Ruoxue didn't understand. Was he bullied? But she didn't believe that anyone could bully him. That bad old man is that beautiful man's master. He said he wants to form closer ties with Grandpa, Freak explained while on the verge of crying. Pfft. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing lightly. So it turns out Freak is jealous again. You're laughing? Even you are bullying me. Freak felt wronged and tears welled up in his eyes. Of course not. Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless. Why do people keep saying that recently? I am a good child. Schwer, someone is here to snatch you away from me again. Boo. What should I do? Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue helplessly and kept thinking about when Schwer would truly belong to him. Freak was very anxious. This opponent wasn't easy to deal with. Chapter 161. You don't know how to treat a beauty well. 2. Nonsense. Let's go see Grandpa since he's back. Lung Ruoshua looked at the nervous freak. This damn freak is quite cute. Oh, Schwer, don't be tempted by other men. Freak reminded her worriedly. Am I so easily seduced by beauty? Lung Ruoshua glanced at Freak and asked in return. No. If it was true, I would have gotten you in my palms a long time ago, he complained in his heart. Then what are you worried about? Yes, I believe Schwer, Freak said with ease. In fact, he was just pretending to be pitiful. Otherwise, how could Schwer feel pity for him? Lung Ruoshua and Freak went to her grandfather's study. Before entering, they heard happy chatting and endless laughter inside. Grandpa! Lung Ruoshua knocked on the door. Schwer, come in. Lung Qingdan hurriedly said when he heard his precious granddaughter's voice. The two of them pushed the door open and walked in. Lung Ruoshua looked up at the situation in the study and saw 4 people in total. In addition to her grandfather and brother, there were 2 strangers. One of them was about the same age as her grandfather. He had a round face, ordinary facial features, and a round body. He wasn't tall, and his aura was restrained. He was a spiritual supremacy. The other person was about 20 years old. He had a handsome appearance, starry eyes like the moon, and a noble and extraordinary temperament. His strength was not low either, and he was an advanced spiritual sovereign. They must be the master and disciple that Freak mentioned. No wonder he treats him as a love rival. This young man is good in appearance, temperament, and strength. The master and disciple pair were also looking at Lung Ruoshua while Lung Ruoshua was looking at the two of them. Schwer, let Grandpa introduce you. This old man is an old friend of Grandpa. You can call him Grandpa Yu. This is old Yes disciple, Dongfang Yun, Lung Qingtian introduced simply. Old Yu, nephew Dongfang, she is my granddaughter, Lung Ruoshua, Lung Qingtian continued, his face full of pride. Old Lung, your granddaughter is indeed as the rumors say. She's just right for my disciple, Old Yu said with a satisfied expression. Master! Dongfang Yun glared at his master in embarrassment and then turned to Lung Ruoshua. I'm sorry, Miss Lung. My master likes to joke, Dongfang Yun said in a very gentlemanly manner. It's really too embarrassing for master to say that, he grumbled in his heart. It's okay. I understand, Lung Ruoshua said coldly as she glanced at the chubby old man who looked like a ball. This old man obviously did it on purpose. But she didn't know why he did it. It's good that Miss Lung doesn't blame me, Dongfang Yun said good-naturedly, not bothered by Lung Ruoxia's indifference. In fact, if she was like other women, sticking to him like a fly the moment she saw him, he wouldn't have bothered responding to her at all. Grandpa, our prosperity pavilion is opening tomorrow, Lung Ruoshua reminded. Schwer, Grandpa specially rushed back for this. I hope Schwer isn't angry that I brought back 2 burdens with me, Lung Qingtian thought fearfully. Grandpa Schwer will be heading out first. Please continue your chat. Lung Ruoshua couldn't help finding her grandfather's careful demeanor amusing. She then grabbed Freak and left without throwing a temper tantrum. Old Lung, why is your granddaughter so shy? Old Yu asked in disappointment. He still wanted that girl to cultivate a good relationship with his good disciple. Do you think everyone is as thick-skinned as you? I told you not to spout nonsense. My granddaughter already has a fiancé, but you still dared to say that. Lung Qingtian glared at his old friend with some dissatisfaction. I just want your precious granddaughter to have another choice. Anyway, they're not married yet. Anything is possible. Old Yu said with a shameless grin, as if it was obvious. Lung Qingtian shook his head helplessly. He really couldn't do anything to this old impish friend. Look at you. Your lips are so pouty you could hang oil bottles on them. Lung Ruoshua couldn't help teasing Freak as they walked in the garden outside Lung Qingshan's study. Schwer, did you see Dongfang Yun? He asked softly. I did. So what? Lung Ruoshua asked helplessly. Isn't he thinking too much? Now, her greatest wish was to become stronger, so how could she have the time to think about other things? If she really wanted to find a man, she would have pounced on Freak long ago. You're not allowed to like him. You're only allowed to like me, he said domineeringly. I don't like him, okay? Lung Ruoxue replied speechlessly. You can only like me, Freak reminded her with great dissatisfaction. Ooh, Schwer is really not serious. She actually replied to me in such a manner. I'm so sad. Damn Freak, if you keep nagging, I won't even want you anymore, Lung Ruoxue threatened. I won't mention it anymore. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue fearfully and aggrievedly like a little wife. Good. Come with me to the Feng family residence now. Why are we going there? Feng Moran had already come to the general's mansion to stay, but rumor had it that he was chased out by the Feng family. Form an official alliance with the first elder, Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh. After the two of them arrived at the Feng family's main residence, the Feng family's first elder directly led them to the Feng family's secret chamber. After entering the secret chamber, the first elder officially became allies with Lung Ruoxue on behalf of the Feng family. They promised not to betray each other with heaven and earth as the witness. Otherwise, they would be obliterated by heaven and earth laws. After forming the alliance, Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. In the living room of the general's mansion, everything you need for the restaurant is inside. Lung Ruoxue handed Feng De a storage ring. I'll go and set it up now. Feng De took the ring and left in a hurry. Freak, let's go sit in the garden. Lung Ruoxue said to the depressed Freak after seeing that everything was arranged. Chapter 162. You don't know how to treat a beauty well. 3. Okay. The two of them arrived at the pavilion in the garden. Before they could get comfortable, Lung Ruhan brought Dong Fang Yun over. Schwer, you're here too. Lung Ruhan said helplessly. It was too much of a coincidence. He knew that Yichen didn't like Dong Fang Yun, so he wanted the two of them to stay away from each other. But he didn't expect to run into them here. Didn't Schwer leave the mansion? Why is she back so soon? Big brother, since you're here, let's sit together. Lung Ruoxue said while lying in Freak's arms. Okay. Lung Ruhan brought Dong Fang Yun to sit down. Miss Lung, let's spar some time. Dong Fang Yun looked at Lung Ruoxue expectantly. If young Master Dong Fang wants to find someone to spar with, I can recommend someone to you. The two of you are of similar strength, Lung Ruoxue suggested. Miss Lung, are you looking down on my strength? Dong Fang Yun smiled. Lung Ruoxue sized Dong Fang Yun up and said without giving him any face, You're not my match. How do you know if you don't try? Dong Fang Yun said with some displeasure. Being looked down on by a woman like this slightly hurt his pride. Then he'll give you a chance. Seeing that he was unwilling to give up, Lung Ruoxue could only agree. Let's go to the training grounds. Lung Ruoxue said and led him to the training grounds in the general's mansion. Schwer, you're not allowed to go easy on him, Freak reminded Lung Ruoxue softly when they arrived at the training ground. Don't worry. I will never go easy on arrogant men, Lung Ruoxue said seriously. For example, when had she ever gone easy on Huaqin? Do your best. You must beat him up until his teeth are all over the ground, Freak said very mischievously. He's the disciple of Grandpa's friend. It wouldn't be good to beat him up too badly. Let's save him some face. Lung Ruoxue said very kindly. Okay then. Schwer, good luck. When Lung Ruoxue and Dong Fang Yun arrived at the training grounds, the entire Blazing Flame mercenary group gathered around. Miss, you can do it. The mercenaries of the Blazing Flame mercenary group cheered for their goddess excitedly. It seems like you have a lot of supporters, Dong Fang Yun said with some envy. These people were all very hot-blooded. They are all mercenaries of my mercenary group, so of course they support me, Lung Ruoxue explained. Let's begin. After you. Dong Fang Yun said gracefully. Do all men have to be like this? Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes speechlessly. You will end up very miserable if you look down on women. Take this. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. Lung Ruoxue shouted and released a stream of fire attribute spiritual power without hesitation. Her opponent was an advanced spiritual sovereign, so she used a heavenly spiritual skill directly. Dong Fang Yun looked at the beautiful feather flying toward him and didn't dare to lower his guard in the slightest. He had long heard of Lung Ruoxue's strength, so he became extremely alert in this battle with her. Seeing the feather approaching him, Dongfang Yun hurriedly set up a curtain wall. This curtain wall was composed of water attribute spiritual power, and water could counter fire. After Lung Ruox's fire attribute spiritual power encountered his water attribute spiritual power, it would meet its nemesis. But would it turn out like what he thought? When Lung Ruox's feather pierced through his water curtain and headed straight for him, Dongfang Yun was stunned. It only lasted for a few seconds, but when he recovered, the feather was already in front of him and was staring at him. Dongfang Yun was a little depressed by this situation. He didn't want to admit it, but he knew that he had lost. But what did this little guy mean? Why didn't it attack? Did Lung Ruox's spiritual power have to be so spiritual? It was as though it was waiting for something. In fact, he was right. The little feather was waiting for its master to give the order. As long as its master gave the order, it would burn the man's clothes to ashes. But Lung Ruoxue would never know what was going through her spiritual power's mind. If she knew, she would never give such an order. As Dongfang Yun screamed, everyone saw his body start to light up. After a short while, his clothes were burned to ashes, revealing his perfect figure. After burning his clothes, the flames disappeared. Dongfang Yun also fainted. Everyone present watched this magical scene in disbelief. Then they looked at Lung Ruoxue in shock. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Lung Ruoxue shouted angrily. "What do those glances mean?" She was so mad. "Swear, you really don't know how to be protective of the fairer sex," Lung Ruhan complained. But he was overjoyed in his heart. Swear is really formidable. Flames specialized in burning men's clothes. Fortunately, Lung Ruoxue couldn't hear her brother's thoughts. Otherwise, she would be depressed to death. "Swear, his figure isn't as good as mine," Freak said with dissatisfaction while looking at Lung Ruoxue resentfully. Wait, what does this have to do with figures? Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruox's forehead. Heavens! Do they think I did it on purpose? If you want to look, just look at mine. Don't burn other men's clothes. Freak whispered with raging jealousy. Heavens! Lung Ruoxue was speechless. She felt so wronged. Could she say that she didn't intend to burn Dongfang Yun's clothes? Could she say that it was just an accident? She just wanted to teach the proud Dongfang Yun a little lesson. But she didn't know why things became like this. "Swear, let's go too," Freak said to Swear when he saw Lung Ruhan ordering people to carry Dongfang Yun away. "Let's go." Lung Ruoxue was helpless. She didn't know how she could clear her name. Boo-hoo, how did this happen? Chapter 163, You Don't Know How to Treat a Beauty Well. 4. After leaving the training grounds, Lung Ruoxue returned to her room, depressed. Freak volunteered to visit Dongfang Yun. "Swear." Lung Qingtian called out from outside his granddaughter's door. "Grandpa, come in." "The door isn't locked," Lung Ruoxue said softly. "Swear, if you want to spar, so be it. But why did you burn his clothes?" Lung Qingtian looked at his precious granddaughter speechlessly. "Great, someone is hanging on to her now." "Grandpa, it was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose." Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. She didn't know why her spiritual power suddenly became disobedient. "Of course, Grandpa knows that you didn't do it on purpose." But Lung Qingtian felt awkward and hesitated. "But what? Grandpa, is Dongfang Yun all right?" Lung Ruoxue asked. She had only used 30% of her spiritual power, and it would at most cause him some superficial wounds. It wouldn't be fatal, so Dongfang Yun should have fainted from fright. "He's fine. But old Yu is relentless and insists that you should be responsible." Lung Qingtian smiled bitterly. "What should I be responsible for?" Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She knew her limits when she attacked. "Old Yu said that you saw his disciple's naked body, so you have to take responsibility." Lung Qingshan's lips twitched helplessly. He also felt that this reason was too far-fetched. What was wrong with seeing a man naked? "Grandpa, I'm not interested in Dongfang Yun," Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. Moreover, she was afraid that Freak would know about this matter, so it was better to make things clear as soon as possible. "Of course Grandpa knows that. But old Yu is very difficult to deal with, and he won't give up easily once he's made up his mind," Lung Qingtian reminded. In fact, he didn't think that Dong Fong Yun was suitable for his precious granddaughter. He felt that his grandson-in-law should be someone as well-behaved and obedient as Yi Qin who wouldn't bully Shuer. It's not so easy to hang on to me. Leng Ruoxue smiled spuriously. Anyone who dared to have any ideas about her would regret it. Shuer, old Yu is grandpa's friend after all. You have to show mercy. Leng Qingtian reminded her, which was also a way of asking for forgiveness for his old friend. Don't worry, Grandpa. I will definitely be merciful, Leng Ruoxue comforted. That's good. By the way, Shuer, about the imperial palace, Leng Qingtian asked curiously. Grandpa, the current emperor is Li Yuan. Li Sun has abdicated, Leng Ruoxue explained simply. What about Li Yu? Li Yuan locked him up. Shuer, does this have anything to do with you? A little. I just cooperated. I'm a good citizen after all. Shuer, the old patriarch of the imperial family isn't easy to deal with, Leng Qingtian couldn't help reminding. Yes, I've met that old man. Did he make things difficult for you? Leng Qingtian asked anxiously. He knew his granddaughter's strength, but as a grandfather he couldn't help but worry. No. That's good. Shuer, Grandpa is leaving, Leng Qingtian said after understanding the situation. Okay. Leng Ruoxue sent her grandfather out of the listening snow pavilion. Shuer. Hearing Freak's voice, Leng Ruoxue turned around. He was standing not far away and looking at her. Don't be scared. It's okay. Leng Ruoxue walked forward and caressed his head to calm him. Yeah. Freak nodded obediently. He believed that Shuer would never like that proud peacock. Beauty traps were useless against Shuer, and this was his experience speaking. Sleep early tonight. We are the hosts tomorrow, Leng Ruoxue reminded. Got it. After she comforted him, the two went to their respective rooms to sleep. The next day was the opening day of the Prosperity Pavilion. As the hosts, Leng Ruoxue and the others naturally arrived at the Prosperity Pavilion early. At the entrance of the restaurant, Leng Ruoxue directly ignored Dong Fong Yun's resentful gaze and said to the two elders, Grandpa Yu, let's go in and take a look. But Ruoxue, my apprentice, Grandpa Yu, guests are coming soon. Let's go in first. Leng Ruoxue interrupted and reminded him. All right. Old Yu gave her face. Lass, you can't pretend to be stupid. After Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the shop and took a tour of the entire Prosperity Pavilion under Feng Da's lead, almost everyone had an amazed expression on their faces because this place was really beyond their expectations. In addition to the exquisite and grand interior furnishings, many things were unheard of. Miss, how was it? Feng Da looked at Leng Ruoxue nervously. Everything here was designed by the young lady and completed under his supervision, so he was afraid that she would be dissatisfied. Not bad. I'm very satisfied. Miss, the Empress has arrived. Lin Yuan, who was preparing to receive guests outside, entered and reported. Invite Big Sister Mo in directly. Leng Ruoxue ordered. Ruoxue, this place is so beautiful. Mo Ingyue exclaimed as soon as she entered the store. It's good that Big Sister Mo likes it. Yes, of course I do, Mo Ingyue said sincerely. This place felt even more comfortable than the Imperial Palace. It was really unbelievable. In my opinion, this place is only SOSO. A discordant voice sounded in everyone's ears. For a moment, everyone's eyes were attracted by the owner of the voice. She was a very beautiful young girl of 15 or 16 years old. Even though she wasn't as drop-dead gorgeous as Leng Ruoxue, she gave off a sweet and lovable feeling. She should have been a very likable young girl, but why did her words sound so offensive? Everyone was puzzled. Leng Ruoxue sneered as she looked at the girl who spoke. How dare a great spiritualist spout nonsense on this occasion? Does she think this place is her home? Chapter 164. Conspiracies All Around. 1. Mingyue, what are you saying? Shut up. Mo Ingyue looked at Leng Ruoxue apologetically with an awkward expression. This self-righteous cousin of hers was really spoiled. Before coming, she had actually warned Mo Mingyue not to spout nonsense, but Mo Mingyue obviously didn't take her words to heart. Big Sister Mo, is this your maidservant? How rude, Lung Ruoxue said lightly with a gentle smile. How dare you? I'm the most favored second young lady of the Mo family. How dare you call me a maidservant? Mo Mingyue roared furiously. In the Mo family, she was more favored than the current empress. If it wasn't because the patriarch, her grandfather, had felt that the crown prince's ascension was hopeless, how could Mo Ingyue have become the empress? In her eyes, Mo Ingyue was merely the daughter of a concubine, so she didn't take Mo Ingyue seriously at all. Ruoxue, she's my cousin, Mo Mingyue, Mo Ingyue explained helplessly. So what if you are the second young lady of the Mo family? With your status, you don't even have the qualifications to be my maidservant, Lung Ruoxue mocked lightly. The Mo family was far inferior to the 5 great families and imperial families. She didn't even care about such top forces, but the daughter of a second-rate family actually dared to be so unbridled in front of her. How dare you say that about me? The emperor won't let you go. Mo Mingyue roared, her eyes blazing with jealousy and hatred. Big sister let's go in and have a seat. Lung Ruoxue looked at Mo Mingyue like she was an idiot and ignored her anger. Okay. Mo Ingyue followed Lung Ruoxue into the lounge. I'm sorry, Honorable Second Miss Mo, my young lady didn't invite you. You can't go in, Fengde said expressionlessly while blocking the door of the lounge. Mo Mingyue, who was about to follow them in, saw someone stopping her and said furiously, why can't I go in? Why could Mo Ingyue enter but not her? This made her proud heart extremely unbalanced. She could go wherever she wanted in the imperial palace, and no one dared to stop her. Don't you understand the human language? I told you, our young lady didn't invite you. Fengde said impatiently. Why are all these noble ladies so brainless? Fine. Who cares about entering? This isn't a good place anyway. It's incomparable to the imperial palace. With this in mind, Mo Mingyue walked away angrily. In the lounge, Big Sister Mo, don't you have anything to say to me? Lung Ruoxue said lightly, a little unhappy in her heart. I'm sorry, Ruoxue. I shouldn't have brought her here, Mo Ingyue said, a little embarrassed. Recently, Mo Mingyue had been staying in the palace. No matter where she went, Mo Mingyue would follow her, making her very annoyed. Big Sister Mo, haven't you thought of a solution yet? Lung Ruoxue asked. If not for Big Sister Mo, she would have asked someone to throw that eyesore out just now. Ruoxue, I've let you down. Big Sister Mo, you didn't let me down. You let yourself down. I don't like women who compromise, Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. If you wanted to deal with your enemies, it was impossible not to be cruel. Giving in would only make your enemies want a yard after taking an inch. But she knew that Mo Ingyue had too many concerns and couldn't be as carefree as her. Ruoxue, I will find a way to get rid of her as soon as possible, Mo Ingyue said resolutely. Big Sister Mo, being the mother of a country isn't easy. If you don't want to be restrained by your family, you have to become stronger. You have to have your own power. Otherwise, you will only become a pawn of your family and always be used by them. Lung Ruoxue knew that Mo Ingyue was different from her. The education she received since childhood was to serve the family, unlike hers. Besides, Lung Ruoxue's family didn't have many people. But even if she had a large family, the family wasn't important to her. She only cared about the people worthy of her attention. Ruoxue, I don't want to become a pawn of my family and be used by them, Mo Ingyue said resolutely. Then become stronger. Make everyone look up to you. Lung Ruoxue encouraged. Okay, I will definitely become stronger. I won't let my family restrict me anymore. This time, Mo Ingyue had really made up her mind. It was not only to protect her man but also for her own freedom. Okay, Big Sister Mo, let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded with satisfaction. She liked women with backbone. When Lung Ruoxue and Mo Ingyue returned to the main hall of the restaurant, almost all the guests had arrived. Junior Aunt. 2 surprising voices appeared behind Lung Ruoxue. She turned around and saw 2 middle-aged men standing not far away with smiles on their faces. The expression on their faces could only be described as flattering. These 2 fellows. When Lung Ruoxue saw them, several black lines hung on her forehead. Why did they come? She was puzzled. The two middle-aged men walked to Lung Ruoxue and said excitedly, "Junior aunt, long time no see. We missed you so much." Those who knew their identities were so surprised that their jaws almost fell to the ground when they heard how they addressed Lung Ruoxue. Oh my God! Did we hear right? The president and vice president of the Artificer Association headquarters actually addressed Lung Ruoxue as Junior aunt. What's going on? Is this a dream? It hasn't been that long, okay? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. By the way, we've only met once. Why are you acting so friendly? Ruoxue, who are they? Mo Ingyue asked curiously. They can be considered disciple nephews I've recognized. Lung Ruoxue explained. She didn't know their names. Junior aunt. The two middle-aged men actually had a tacit understanding upon hearing Lung Ruoxue's unwilling tone. They looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly, as if she had abandoned them. They were going all out. Their master had reminded them repeatedly to stick to Lung Ruoxue no matter what when they came. This mission could only succeed and not fail. Chapter 165. Conspiracies all around, too. Seeing their expressions, Lung Ruoxue was really confused. She would have found it a little cute if it was Freak making such expressions. But no one would be able to stand two middle-aged men with strong facial features and burly statures pretending to be pitiful. Ruoxue, Mo Ingyue felt her hair stand on end. She really didn't know what to say. Hello, Empress Mo. I am Guiyong and he's Guichang. We are brothers, the man who claimed to be Guiyong introduced. Guiyong, Guichang. Aren't they the president and vice president of the Artificer Association headquarters? Mo Ingyue was surprised. Are they really those two? Or do they just have the same names? Rumor had it that Guiyong and Guichang were the only two supreme artificers on the Lingfeng continent. Their master, the founder of the Artificer Association, had disappeared for many years. And many people even speculated that their master was no longer around. Therefore, she really couldn't understand why they addressed Ruoxue as Junior aunt. Hello. Mo Ingyue turned to look at Lung Ruoxue, her eyes full of question marks. But the words "don't ask me" were written all over Lung Ruoxue's face. In fact, Lung Ruoxue had only just learned the names of these two people. She didn't even have an impression of their names, so it was naturally impossible for her to know that these two middle-aged men who called her Junior aunt were the famous big bosses of the Artificer Association. However, the others present were not as calm as Lung Ruoxue, especially those who didn't know their identities just now. They almost fainted from excitement when they heard the names of the two people. They were their idols. It was unknown who started it, but in the blink of an eye, Guiyong and Guichang were surrounded. Mo Ingyue pulled Lung Ruoxue to the side and asked softly, "Ruoxue, do you know their identities?" "No," Lung Ruoxue answered honestly. "They should be the president and vice president of the Artificer Association," Mo Ingyue said helplessly. "I was right. Ruoxue really doesn't know." "Oh," Lung Ruoxue answered lightly. "Ruoxue, isn't your reaction a little too calm?" Mo Ingyue was a little speechless. "Ruoxue, can you not be so calm? Otherwise," Lung Ruoxue asked, "pretend I didn't say anything." Mo Ingyue felt a little helpless. Am I too inexperienced? Big sister Mo, find a place to sit for a while. I'll take a look over there. Lung Ruoxue's sharp eyes saw her grandfather calling her. Okay, go ahead. Don't worry about me. She had to find Mingyue so that she wouldn't cause any trouble. Lung Ruoxue walked to her grandfather and asked softly, "Grandpa, you called me?" "Swear, those two people have very high statuses." Lung Qingtian reminded. He didn't expect them to be. "Grandpa, don't they call me Junior aunt?" "You don't have to worry," Lung Ruoxue comforted. Since they took the initiative to come to her door, they must have some ulterior motive. But they had to pay the price if they wanted to use her. Okay. Lung Qingtian nodded. He felt very relieved about his granddaughter. "Miss, it's time." Fengde walked over. "Please take the guests to their seats." Lung Ruoxue ordered. The first day of business was the grand opening celebration of the Prosperity Pavilion, so it wasn't open to the public today, and the guests invited were all from prominent families. After Feng De led the guests to their seats, Leng Qingtian thanked them as a general and directly ordered the dishes to be served. When everyone saw the dishes that they had never seen before and smelled the enticing fragrance, they all felt that their saliva was about to flow out. "What is everyone looking at? I won't take your money today. Don't be scared. Just eat." Leng Qingtian joked happily. "Who's afraid?" Lin Liang didn't stand on ceremony as he took the lead to pick up a piece of alluring red meat and put it in his mouth. The meat melted as soon as it entered his mouth, and its fragrance overflowed, almost causing him to bite off his tongue. "Old Leng who made this dish?" Lin Liang asked while eating. "Didn't I tell you?" Leng Qingtian rolled his eyes at Lin Liang. "It's really them? Amazing." "Tisich, look at who trained them," Leng Qingtian said proudly. "Look at how proud you are," Lin Liang said angrily. "Wasn't this old man just relying on his good granddaughter? What was there to be so arrogant about? What kind of food is this? It's so unpalatable. She wants to open a restaurant with this standard." Mo Mingyue harumphed in disdain. She just wanted to cause trouble. She didn't believe that Leng Ruoxue would dare to do anything to her. "Mingyue, shut up," Mo Ingyue growled unhappily. She really didn't understand why Mingyue had to find trouble with Ruoxue. Ruoxue didn't provoke her. Unfortunately, Mo Mingyue's voice was too loud, and it attracted everyone's attention. "Miss Mo, you might not know this, but Miss Ling opened this restaurant mainly because she was refused entry by the Spring Wind House," Shui Xinran said with a face full of mockery and a sweet smile full of schadenfreude. "I see. I knew it. Why would a noble young lady open a restaurant for no reason?" Mo Mingyue was even more pleased with herself when she saw someone supporting her. "Xinran." Hua Qing suddenly called out expressionlessly. "Big brother Qing." Shui Xinran immediately changed from being sharp and unkind to being lovable and cute. Her face changed so quickly that people were dumbfounded. "You don't have to appear in front of me again," Hua Qing said coldly. "Big brother Qing." Shui Xinran was shocked, and tears instantly fell like rain. She never dreamed that Big Brother Qing would actually humiliate her so much and say such heartless words in public for Leng Ruoxue. After hearing Hua Qing's words, everyone's eyes turned to Shui Xinran. The prideful Shui Xinran felt extremely embarrassed. With a swoosh, she stood up and ran away. "Ruoxue, I'm sorry," Hua Qing said awkwardly. Chapter 166, Conspiracies All Around, 3. "You don't have to apologize," Leng Ruoxue replied coldly. She was not like the prideful Shui Xinran, and other people's comments wouldn't affect her. "Feng De, throw the second young lady of the Mo family out. From now on, the Mo family will never be my friend," Leng Ruoxue said to Feng De and everyone present at the same time. Yes, Mississippi. After receiving his young lattice order, Feng De would definitely do his best to carry it out. "Big sister Mo, the Mo family is the Mo family, and you are you." Leng Ruoxue glanced at Mo Ingyue and comforted her. "Okay." Mo Ingyue nodded. She knew that part of what Ruoxue said was to support her, so she was very touched. "Everyone, don't be affected by an eyesore or two. Please continue." Leng Ruoxue said to everyone. "Yes, that's right," everyone echoed very generously. "Old Leng, your granddaughter really distinguishes between love and hate. She can't tolerate dirt in her eyes." Lin Liang sighed with emotion. "Young people are really bold. The Mo family's future probably won't be pleasant. Of course, anyone who dares to bully my grandson and granddaughter is going against me, Leng Qingtian. Such people are the enemy of our Leng family." Leng Qingtian said as a matter of course. "And also my enemy." Old Yu, sitting next to Leng Qingtian, added. "Fine, they're my enemy too." Lin Liang didn't want to fall behind. Moreover, Old Leng's grandson was his disciple. Upon hearing this, everyone was flabbergasted. How can you be so protective? Although there were some unhappy hiccups during the meal, it was generally very satisfactory and also achieved Leng Ruoxue's goal of treating people to free food. She believed that the reputation of the Prosperity Pavilion was already incomparably resounding in the hearts of these families. The first day of business ended after all the guests finished their meals contentedly and left. After sending off all the guests, Leng Ruoxue and the others returned to the general's mansion. In the living room of the general's mansion. "Junior aunt, we want to stay here for a while," Guiyong said shamelessly. In other words, he wanted her to arrange a place for them to stay. "Can't the Artificer Association accommodate people?" Leng Ruoxue asked with a few drops of cold sweat on her forehead. "Are they planning to stay in my house just like that? How can it be more comfortable than living at home? You are our junior aunt. Can you bear to see your cute disciple nephews live in the Artificer Association?" Guochang said with a wronged expression on his face that was full of bitterness. "Feng De, go arrange a room for them." Leng Ruoxue admitted defeat. These two people's ages added together were almost 100 years old. What else could she say if they could say such coquettish words? "Yes, Mississippi." Feng De then led Guiyong and Guochang out of the living room. "Shuer, looks like they're sticking to you." Freak smiled sympathetically when they were alone in the living room. "Yeah." Leng Ruoxue nodded helplessly. Everyone could see that even without him saying it. "You're not jealous?" Leng Ruoxue continued as if she had discovered a new world. "Teach, what's the point of being jealous of two old men?" Freak said indifferently. If they wanted to make him jealous, they had to be at Dongfang Yun's level. "Oh, I thought you were jealous of everyone." Leng Ruoxue teased. "But what are you planning by sticking together with Dongfang Yun today?" Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. She was surprised that Freak didn't stick to her today but stayed together with Dongfang Yun. "I want to know him well." Freak smiled evilly. He had been watching Dongfang Yun closely all day so that Dongfang Yun wouldn't have a chance to get close to his Shuer. But he had paid a rather large price because he hadn't been able to stick to Shuer for the entire day. "Boo. I seem to have suffered some losses." "Shuer." Freak suddenly hugged Leng Ruoxue tightly. "I have to make up for today's loss." "Freak, let go of me. You are hugging me too tightly." Leng Ruoxue shouted. "Oh, then it'll be gentler." He still didn't intend to let go. "Freak, how long do you plan to hug me?" Leng Ruoxue asked speechlessly after a long while. "For life." Freak said affectionately, his eyes shining like stars. "Freak, I'm tired from standing," Leng Ruoxue said, slightly dampening the mood. She would probably fall asleep soon. "Oh, you're not tired anymore, are you?" Freak carried Leng Ruoxue up. "I am really too smart." "Yes, I'm not tired. But I'm sleepy and want to sleep," Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. "Freak is getting better at pretending to be stupid." "Oh, it'll take you back to your room then." Freak was very understanding and ran straight to the listening snow pavilion with Leng Ruoxue in his arms. "Shuer, go to sleep." Upon reaching her room, he directly put her on the bed. But he also conveniently sat down beside her bed. "Freak, you can go back to your room to sleep now," Leng Ruoxue said directly while looking at him, who had no intention of leaving. "Hurry up and sleep. Don't bother about me." Freak urged. Seeing how stubbornly he refused to leave, Leng Ruoxue closed her eyes and ignored him. Freak leaned against her bed and stared at her without blinking. As he listened to her even breathing, his heart was churning like the sea. "When will Shuer realize how important I am?" The next day, when Leng Ruoxue woke up, she found Freak sleeping next to her bed. "Freak is really..." She shook her head helplessly and gently adjusted him into a more comfortable position. She then covered him with the blanket and quietly got off the bed. After freshening up, she left the room. Several days later. "Miss, business in our restaurant has been very good these few days," Feng De said to Leng Ruoxue excitedly in the garden. Chapter 167, Conspiracies All Around for, "Oh." Leng Ruoxue nodded. She had expected that business would be good. After all, many of the dishes in the Prosperity Pavilion belonged to her previous world. And afterward, she changed the ingredients to match the ones in this world. "Feng De, go out for the training experience in a few days," Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. "Yes, Mississippi." At the same time, A secret gathering of the 5 great families was taking place in the Su family's main residence in the Western Light Empire. In the main hall of the Su family residence. Su Qian, why did you call us all here? Wei, the patriarch of the Hua family, said with a displeased face. Why can't we send letters? Must we say it in person? That's right. Acting Patriarch Su, we are all here. Say whatever you have to say. Feng Miao, the representative of the Feng family, was also very displeased. He originally didn't want to come, but the first elder sent him. He was really annoyed. Su Qian, our time is very precious. We don't have time to waste with you, Yi Ming said anxiously. He said he wanted to wait for everyone to arrive before talking, but he still didn't say anything now that everyone was here. Is Su Qian messing with us? Why are you so anxious? Learn from Brother Shui. See how composed he is, Su Qian, who was sitting in the main seat, said with a gloomy and eccentric sneer. I'm anxious too. Just say it. Shui Zhen retorted without giving him any face. Don't think that I don't know that you just want to sit back and watch the tigers fight. We won't be fooled. Since you're so anxious, let me say it. Su Qian continued after a pause. How do you intend to deal with Leng Ruoxue? Why should we deal with Leng Ruoxue? Hua Yi's handsome face was full of question marks. That's right. Leng Ruoxue doesn't have any enmity with our Feng family. Why should we deal with her? Feng Miao was also very puzzled. Su Qian, Leng Ruoxue is the future daughter-in-law of the Yi family. Yi Ming looked at Su Qian with a hint of warning. Yes, that's right. Leng Ruoxue and I don't have any enmity. She's also a junior, Shui Zhen agreed, but his mind was racing. It's obviously this old thing who wants to deal with Leng Ruoxue, but he's asking us. Leng Ruoxue is about to threaten the status of our 5 great families. Are we going to continue to ignore this? Su Qian said ruthlessly, his eyes releasing intense killing intent. Acting Patriarch Su, aren't you exaggerating a little too much? Let's not talk about whether Leng Ruoxue is ambitious or not. There are only a few people in the Leng family. They're not a threat to us at all, Feng Miao said disapprovingly. Brother Feng's words are very reasonable. Su Qian, you're too far-fetched, Hui echoed. Su Qian obviously wants to get rid of Leng Ruoxue, but he still wants to use us as cannon fodder. Fat chance. Su Qian, although Leng Ruoxue's Prosperity Pavilion might have robbed a lot of your Su family's customers, you don't need to get rid of Leng Ruoxue just because of this. Do you think Leng Qingtian is just for show? Yi Ming said with some schadenfreude. Su Qian clearly wants to drag us into this because he's afraid of Leng Qingtian. They're right, Su Qian. How can we be so petty as top families? The Spring Wind House only earns a fraction of what your Su family earns. Why do you care so much? Shui Zhen also disagreed. You all? Su Qian was so angry that he was at a loss for words. Although the 5 great families might look harmonious on the surface, everyone was sitting here because they couldn't wait to see others make a fool of themselves. Su Qian, only harmony can lead to wealth. Hua Yi advised earnestly. Do you think I'm doing this for a mere restaurant? Su Qian roared furiously. They're definitely doing it on purpose. Isn't it? I didn't hear Leng Ruoxue stealing anything else from you, Feng Miao said in puzzlement. I'm doing it because of the spots to enter the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. Su Qian couldn't take it anymore. I've asked around. Leng Ruoxue said she didn't have any more spots, Yi Ming explained. At first, he didn't believe that Leng Ruoxue would simply give away the Mystic Realm spots. But after asking around, he found out that she had indeed given them away, so he gave up. Su Qian widened his eyes and questioned, Do you know how many spots she has? How many can she have? The Heavenly Phoenix Academy can't possibly give her all the spots, right? Yi Ming said nonchalantly. 10. She has 10 spots. Su Qian said loudly. Is what you said true? Yi Ming confirmed in disbelief. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy had obtained less than 20 ownerless spots, but Leng Ruoxue herself had 10. Was this possible? Of course it's true. Someone from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy told me personally. The news is absolutely accurate, Su Qian said confidently, his face full of pride. Damn it. Lung Ruoxue actually dared to lie to me. Yi Ming was so angry. In fact, when he went to the Lung family residence previously, he said that he had heard Lung Ruoxue had spots in her hands, but he was just testing her. His original intention was to use the relationship between the Lung family and Lin Liang to get a few spots from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. Who knew that things would end badly? Unexpectedly, Lung Ruoxue really had more and had even given them away. Su Qian, even if Lung Ruoxue really has spots for the mystic realm, what can we do? She has several spiritual supremacies on her side. And also divine beasts. Our ancestors are all in seclusion. No one can defeat Lung Qingtian even if we add up all of us, Shuaizhen said weakly. Of course, he wanted the spots for the mystic realm, but he would have to snatch them. That's why we have to join forces. Su Qian said anxiously. He was determined to obtain the spots. After hearing Su Qian's words, the other 4 people present became silent. Then how do you want us to join forces? Hui asked after some thought. In fact, the Hua family was not lacking in spots to enter the mystic realm, so he really didn't care about the few in Lung Ruoxue's hands. However, Chapter 168, The Best Defense is Offense, 1. Acting Patriarch Su, the spots for the mystic realm might be tempting, but if we join forces, are you sure we will get them? What if Lung Ruoxue has already given all of them away? Wouldn't we have worked for nothing then? Feng Miao said worriedly. That's right. Lung Ruoxue isn't as concerned about the mystic realm spots as we are, Yi Ming said angrily. At this point he was furious. Lung Ruoxue would rather give such important spots to her servants than to the Yi family. I won't let her go. Relax, I can guarantee that Lung Ruoxue definitely still has spots in her hand, Su Qian said confidently. Su Qian, if we join forces, how are we going to split the mystic realm spots? This was Shuaizhen's most pressing concern. The Shui family didn't have a single mystic realm spot, so he was just as anxious as Su Qian. Of course, we'll split them equally, Su Qian said without hesitation. So, have you decided yet? Su Qian asked again, his vicious and sharp gaze fixed on the other 4 people sitting here. I can't decide on this matter. Feng Miao smiled gently. He was just an idler in the Feng family. How could he decide on such a big matter? What about you? Su Qian's gaze turned to the other 3 people. Of course, he knew that Feng Miao couldn't decide, so he didn't take him seriously. This is a serious matter. I need to go back and discuss it with the elders before making the final decision, Hui said after some thought. Among the 5 great families, the Yi and Feng families both had spots for the mystic realm. Therefore, Hui knew that their 3 families were definitely not in a hurry. After all, everything depended on opportunities after entering the mystic realm. Sometimes, having more spots was useless, and you might not necessarily have more opportunities than others. I can't decide now either, Yi Ming said. He also wanted to go back and discuss with the elders of the family. After all, the Lung family. Brother Shui, what about you? Su Qian placed his last hope on Shuaizhen and looked at him expectantly. Alas, he didn't dare to count on those people. I have to go back and discuss it too, Shuaizhen said helplessly. In that case, all of you go back and discuss it then. Send me a letter when you're done, Su Qian said helplessly. All right, we'll take our leave first, Hui and the others said. In the imperial garden of the imperial palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire, hundreds of flowers were in full bloom in the imperial garden, and their fragrance was delightful. Mo Inyue was lying comfortably on a recliner and basking in the sun with flowers surrounding her. She was in an extremely good mood. Your Majesty, the imperial father-in-law requests an audience, a maidservant reported softly. Didn't you tell him that I'm resting? Mo Inyue frowned in displeasure. After Mo Mingyue had offended Roshue on the opening day of the Prosperity Pavilion, she had been grounded by the patriarch of the Mo family. Moreover, she knew very well that the Mo family had not been having a good time recently. Many families who usually had close ties with them basically didn't dare to keep close to the Mo family anymore. Therefore, her days were much better. Yes, but the imperial father-in-law, the maidservant stammered, not knowing how to answer. Where is he now? Mo Inoue asked indifferently. At the Phoenix Algae Palace. Then let's go back to the palace. Mo Inoue stood up from the recliner, adjusted her clothes, and slowly walked toward the Phoenix Algae Palace. Back in the Phoenix Algae Palace, Missouri Inoue saw her weak father sitting in a chair obediently, and sitting beside him was an old man with a serious expression. Grandfather is here too? Mo Inoue said somewhat mockingly. This grandfather of hers would never visit unless he needed something. It seemed like he was really forced into a corner this time. Yes. Patriarch Mo raised his eyes slightly as a form of greeting. Inoue, Dad and Grandfather came to see you this time for a very important matter, Mo Changhai said helplessly. He originally didn't want to come, but his father forced him to. Oh, I wonder what it is? Mo Inoue pretended to be confused, but her eyes kept darting to Mo Changhai. Alas, if only Dad could be tougher, he wouldn't have been suppressed by Uncle all these years. What a pity. Mo Changhai didn't know how to start. Patriarch Mo glared at his useless eldest son and then said straightforwardly, I heard that you have a good relationship with Lung Ruoxue? Just average. Mo Yingyu's beautiful face was full of puzzlement. Last time, Mingyue offended Lung Ruoxue. We wanted to go to the Lung family to apologize, but we were always turned away, so, Patriarch Mo stared at Mo Inoue. He had made it clear enough. Grandfather, Lung Ruoxue and I are acquainted and have had several dealings. But Lung Ruoxue's temper is very bad, so it's useless even if I try to reason with her. She won't give me face at all, Mo Inoue said with some embarrassment, her face full of helplessness. This is obviously your excuse. Don't think that your position as the Empress is stable. If our Mo family collapses, it won't do you any good, Patriarch Mo said threateningly, his face livid with anger. Grandfather, even if the Mo family doesn't collapse, will my position as the Empress be secure? Mo Inoue asked softly with a smile on her beautiful face. What do you mean by this? Are you talking back to me? Patriarch Mo roared furiously. Fine, this little sheep thinks that her wings have hardened now that she has someone supporting her. How dare she not take me, her grandfather, seriously? How dare I talk back to grandfather? I'm just telling the truth, Mo Inoue said indifferently, her face abnormally calm. I'm just asking you, are you going to take care of this matter or not? Patriarch Mo roared directly. The veins on his forehead bulged out, and his face darkened. It's not that I don't care. It's that I can't do anything, Mo Inoue said nonchalantly. Now that he needs me for something, he looks for me? Inoue. Mo Changhai opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. Dad, everyone in Phoenix City knows the temper of the Lung family. Are they so easy to provoke? Mingyue was spoiled by you all, so there's nothing I can do, Mo Inoue said coldly with an expressionless face. Chapter 169. The best defense is offense, 2. Come, escort the imperial father-in-law and Patriarch Mo out of the palace, Mo Inoue ordered softly. A young eunuch stepped forward and said politely, Yes, imperial father-in-law, Patriarch, this way please. Mo Inoue, you will regret it. Patriarch Mo snorted coldly and walked away without looking back. He didn't believe that an empress without the support of her family could last long. How can I have a useless son like you? You can't even control your own daughter. Patriarch Mo kept reprimanding his eldest son as they left the palace. I'm sorry, father. Mo Changhai lowered his head and stopped talking. What could he say? One was his father, and the other was his daughter. Alas, it was all his fault. Imperial father-in-law, Patriarch Mo, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here. A surprised voice sounded in their ears. Oh, it's Prime Minister Fu. What a coincidence. Patriarch Mo greeted with a smile, revealing a happy expression. Hello, Prime Minister Fu, Mo Changhai said politely. Are you here to see the Empress? Prime Minister Fu asked even though he knew. Yes, I had something to discuss with the Empress, Patriarch Mo said indifferently, his expression unreadable. Is it related to the Lung family? Prime Minister Fu asked with concern. Yes. Patriarch Mo nodded helplessly. This was no longer a secret in Phoenix City. The Mo family had almost no place left in Phoenix City because of Lung Ruox's words. Alas, the Lung family has always been overbearing, but they've really gone a little overboard this time. Your Mo family is related by marriage to the imperial family, so how can the Lung family be so unreasonable? It's not a big deal. It's just a conflict between children. Why implicate the family? Prime Minister Fu said with indignation, as if it was his family that had been squeezed out by others. The expression on his face was sincere. That's right. I also know that the Lung family isn't to be trifled with, but I didn't expect the Lung family to have so much power. Now, almost no family dares to have any dealings with our Mo family anymore. Patriarch Mo had a worried look on his face. At this moment, he had already regarded Prime Minister Fu as a bosom friend and was venting his bitterness. It's all because the Artificer Association is supporting her. You know those fence-sitters wouldn't dare to offend the people of the Artificer Association. Prime Minister Fu's face was full of sympathy. But in the depths of his heart, he was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. How can the Lung family have such good luck? The people of the Artificer Association actually treat them so favorably. Alas, is our Mo family really going to decline? Patriarch Mo was very unwilling. Their Mo family was about to rise up. How could they perish just like this? In fact, that's not necessarily so. As long as your Mo family can find a powerful backer, the Lung family won't be able to do anything to you, Prime Minister Fu suggested. Backer? How can we find a backer in a situation like this? Moreover, I don't have the means to do so, Patriarch Mo said somewhat gloomily. Their Mo family might be ranked among the top families in the Eastern Lagoon Empire, but it was far from being comparable to the 5 great families and imperial families. For example, take the Feng family, one of the 5 great families in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. If he wanted to visit the Feng family, he wouldn't be able to meet the Patriarch at all. It would already be considered very good if he had an elder to receive him. I have a way, but I don't know if you will be interested, Prime Minister Fu said with uncertainty, a deep scheming look flashing in his eyes. Minister Fu, please tell me about it, Patriarch Mo said anxiously. He wouldn't give up as long as there was a glimmer of hope now. It's not convenient to talk here. Come with me. Prime Minister Fu looked around cautiously. Chonghai, go back first. I have something to discuss with Prime Minister Fu, Patriarch Mo ordered his eldest son. Yes, father. Mo Chonghai looked at Prime Minister Fu and then obediently left. Then Patriarch Mo and Prime Minister Fu left the palace together. General Lung's mansion, Listening Snow Pavilion. Miss Huang Fulian and Hu Qing are here. Lu Tao knocked on Lung Ruox's door and reported softly. Got it, Lung Ruoxue answered from her room. Schwer, we're not done playing yet, Freak, who was playing Go with Lung Ruoxue, said with some dissatisfaction. Visitors are guests. Well, continue later. Or you and Dongfang Yunshan can play first. I want to take a look, Lung Ruoxue coaxed helplessly. I don't want to play with him. Freak and Dongfang Yun, who had been watching by the side, shouted in unison. Both of their faces had a look of disdain. Then come with me to meet the guests. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the two of them and then directly left the room. Schwer, wait for me. Freak hurriedly followed. I'm coming too. Dongfang Yun was unwilling to be left behind and chased after them. Lung Ruox's group of 3 arrived at the living room and saw her grandfather greeting Huang Fulian and Hu Qing. Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue greeted her grandfather and then turned to look at Hu Qing and Huang Fulian. Why are the two of you together? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Do they have a good relationship now? Huang Fulian said he wanted to see you, so I came along, Hu Qing explained. He hadn't dared to come to the Lung family residence since that day, and he only came today because of Huang Fulian. Otherwise, he was afraid that Ruoxue wouldn't let him in if he came alone. Oh! Lung Ruox's gaze turned to Huang Fulian. This gentle and handsome young crown prince shouldn't just be here to see her, right? I brought you some specialties from the Southern Dusk Empire. My mother asked me to bring them to you, Huang Fulian explained honestly. He didn't even dare to look Lung Ruoxue in the eye, and his cheeks were slightly red. Looking at this shy crown prince, Lung Qingtian couldn't help but sigh. A man like this wouldn't be able to pursue his granddaughter. It seemed that the thoughts of the Southern Dusk's empress were wasted. Please thank the empress for her kind intentions on my behalf, Crown Prince, Lung Ruoxue said politely. Okay. Huang Fulian nodded and then fell silent. Chapter 170, The Best Defense is Offense, 3. Dongfang Yun, didn't you want to find someone to spar with? You can spar with Huqing, Lung Ruoxue suddenly said after looking at Huqing. Dongfang Yun felt lightheaded whenever he heard the word spar. The experience of the previous spar had really left a deep impression on him, and he couldn't forget it no matter what. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but look resentfully at the culprit who had harmed him. He wouldn't dare to find someone casually to spar with anymore. Ooh, how embarrassing. Brother Dongfang wants to spar with me? But Huqing said, full of fighting spirit. He had always wanted to find an opportunity to compete with Dongfang Yun after getting to know him on the opening day of the Prosperity Pavilion. No, I'm not in the mood to spar now, Dongfang Yun said weakly with an awkward expression on his face. Oh, then come find me at any time when you're in the mood. Huqing didn't insist. Dongfang Yun couldn't run anyway, and they would have plenty of opportunities to spar in the future. The group chatted for a while and then had dinner before seeing the two off. After Lung Ruoxue saw the two off, she returned to the listening snow pavilion with Freak. Schwer, why did the Empress of Southern Dusk bring you specialties? Freak asked in puzzlement while looking at the package on the table. If they want to pursue Schwer, they should bring some valuable things, right? I don't know. Lung Ruoxue also felt that it was a little strange. She had only met the Empress once. Even though the Empress said that she was friends with her mother, Lung Ruoxue opened the package. There were indeed some specialties from the Southern Dusk Empire inside, but there was nothing special about them. Schwer, what is this? A small bamboo tube suddenly appeared in Freak's hand. The bamboo tube was thinner than a baby's pinky and about 5 centimeters long. Where did you get it? Lung Ruoxue asked as she took the bamboo tube from his hand. Found it here, Freak explained while pointing to a string of red fruits. Lung Ruoxue looked at the strings of red fruits and then picked up the small bamboo tube to compare the two. The bamboo tube was very similar to the stems of the red fruits, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if you didn't look carefully. Lung Ruoxue opened the bamboo tube, and there was a thin letter inside. She took it out, and the more she read, the more serious her expression became. Schwer, what's the matter? Freak asked in confusion. See for yourself. Lung Ruoxue didn't explain and directly handed the letter to him. Freak took the letter doubtfully and looked at it. He couldn't help being a little surprised. The Southern Dusk Empire wants to form an alliance with us? This should be a good thing, but let's go see Grandpa. Okay. When they arrived at Ling Qingshan's study, Lung Ruoxue took out the letter and showed it to her grandfather. Schwers, what do you intend to do? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking. The Su family was really up to no good. They even contacted the imperial families. I want to hear Grandpa's opinion, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. It wasn't difficult to deal with the Su family with her current strength, but she wasn't that confident if the Su family had too many allies. The Su family is looking for allies, but won't we? Since the Southern Dusk Empire's imperial family is so sincere, we have no reason to decline, Lung Qingtian analyzed after thinking about it. He had long hated the Su family to the core. He absolutely couldn't let them off easily now that the hateful Su family was eyeing his granddaughter again. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She had the same idea. Perhaps it was time for her to meet the old patriarch of the Eastern Lagoon Empire. The old man had something to say last time. Late at night, in a side palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire's Imperial Palace, a huge black eagle directly descended here. Lung Ruoxue and Freak jumped down from Quill's back and casually sized up the remote palace. It was a very desolate palace, and the decorations here were old. Only a flower bed was full of life, and the flowers inside flourished in the darkness. Come in. An old voice sounded in the cold night, and the palace became bright. Lung Ruoxue and Freak pushed open the palace door and walked in. "Have a seat, little girl," the old man in green said lightly. "Thank you." Lung Ruoxue and Freak found a random seat and sat down. But the three of them didn't speak and instead looked at each other. "Little girl, why do you always like to come to other people's houses in the middle of the night?" the old man teased after a while, his slightly turbid eyes carrying a teasing look. "It's late at night, and everyone is asleep, so it's more convenient to do bad things." Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly as her forehead dripped with cold sweat. She was not a shy little rabbit, and she wouldn't care about what others thought as long as she wanted to do something. The old man was speechless. Lung Ruoxue's skin was thicker than he imagined. "Little girl, tell me. Why are you looking for me?" The old man continued. "Didn't you have something to tell me?" Lung Ruoxue asked in return. No one wanted to reveal their purpose first. This little fox. Why are the people in the Lung family so difficult to deal with? The old man complained in his head. "Little girl, I know some things that should be very useful to you." Seeing that the little fox didn't take the bait, the old man had to throw out the bait first. "The Su family." The old man only said 3 words and stopped talking. He just stared at Lung Ruoxue with his turbid eyes. "Hee, the Su family is ambitious, and I'm not the only one they want to deal with," Lung Ruoxue said knowingly. She had been paying attention to the Su family's every move since she received some news. "Little girl, tell me what you want to do. I'll do my best to cooperate." The old man sighed helplessly. The Su family was indeed a big problem in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. "We can become temporary allies," Lung Ruoxue suggested. "Why temporary?" the old man asked in puzzlement. "After this matter is over, we will go our separate ways," Lung Ruoxue explained. She didn't want to be too deeply involved with the imperial family. "Lung Ruoxue, do you dislike the imperial family so much?" the old man asked in realization. Although General Lung was a pillar of the country, the Lung family didn't like to have any relationship with the imperial family. He really couldn't understand why. Chapter 171. The best defense is offense. 4. "I guess so," Lung Ruoxue said without giving him any face. Sigh. "Little girl, do you have any plans?" the old man asked helplessly. "I've decided to strike first," Lung Ruoxue explained. She had never been one to be a sitting duck. Since the enemies wanted to deal with her, she naturally couldn't give them enough time to prepare. Thus, she was already planning when she knew the news. But things changed later on, so she wanted to find a few more allies. "Strike first? Are you confident?" the old man asked with interest. "You'll know then." Lung Ruoxue deliberately left him hanging. "Little girl, what do you need me to do?" the old man asked proactively. Since they were going to form an alliance, it was impossible for him to do nothing and enjoy the fruits of her labor, right? "I need you to get rid of the parasites in the Eastern Lagoon Empire first. We'll see what happens with the rest later," Lung Ruoxue said simply. She wanted to cut off the Su family's lackeys before dealing with the Su family. "There's no problem with that," the old man said straightforwardly. He had wanted to get rid of those people for a long time, but he had never thought of a good reason. But it seemed like he didn't need any reason now. After reaching an agreement with the old man and establishing the alliance contract, Lung Ruoxue left quietly. After leaving the Eastern Lagoon Empire's imperial palace, Lung Ruoxue and Freak rushed to the Southern Dusk Empire overnight. After flying non-stop for nearly 3 days, they finally arrived at lunar capital in the Southern Dusk Empire. It was in the afternoon when they entered the Southern Dusk country. Lung Ruoxue and Freak casually found a family inn, had some food, and had a simple rest. They waited until late at night before sneaking into the imperial palace of the Southern Dusk Empire. With great familiarity, they found the Phoenix Rite Hall where the Empress resided. Lung Ruoxue got Rise to cast an invisibility spell on the two of them, and they walked into the inner hall as if no one was there. "Schwer, I don't think it's a good idea for us to barge in like this," Freak said with some concern on his face, his cheeks flushed red. "Why not? It's the only way to avoid being discovered," Lung Ruoxue said in puzzlement, her face full of confusion. "What does Freak mean?" "What I mean is, what if the couple is currently..." Wouldn't we be disturbing them if we went in directly? Freak said very thoughtfully. Damn, Freak, are you looking for a beating? What are you thinking? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly with her face full of black lines. Only Freak could think of something like this. Swear, it's not impossible, Freak defended himself aggrievedly. What should we do then? Should we enter or not? Lung Ruoxue was also a little hesitant. After all, they were here to form an alliance with the Southern Dusk Empire. If they really ran into them, it would indeed not be good. Freak thought about it and then pressed his ear against the window of the inner hall. Swear, let's go in, he said after a while. Okay. Lung Ruoxue pushed open the door to the inner hall, and the two entered. 3 days later, Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. Swear, you're back so soon? Lung Qingtian was surprised to see his precious granddaughter in his study. Yes. Has everything been settled? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking. Done, Lung Ruoxue said simply. Stinky girl, can't you say a few more words? Are you trying to make Grandpa anxious? Lung Qingtian was a little anxious. He had been waiting for news from Shuer, but this stinky girl insisted on one-word answers. She was deliberately trying to make him anxious. Grandpa, are you doubting your granddaughter? Lung Ruoxue hugged Lung Qingshan's arm and acted coquettishly. Of course I'm not doubting you, but you have to explain it to Grandpa. Otherwise, Grandpa will be worried, Lung Qingtian said with slight dissatisfaction. Okay. Lung Ruoxue stopped teasing her grandfather and explained her cooperation with the two empires in detail. In fact, she had gained a lot from her trip to the Southern Dusk Empire. At least, she now knew a lot of secrets from the Emperor and the Empress, including what had happened to her parents all those years ago. She didn't expect them to know more details than her grandfather. This made her even more determined to get rid of the Su family. Shuer, what are your plans? Lung Qingtian asked with a solemn expression after hearing everything his granddaughter had to say. The Su family is too ambitious. They actually want to... Grandpa, hasn't the Su family been waiting for news from the other 4 families? I've decided to reveal these things to those families. If they still choose to cooperate with the Su family, I'm afraid they won't be on the same page, Lung Ruoxue explained. She decided to use the Sao Discord plan. But she knew very well that even if she didn't use it, those families would still have different motives. Lung Qingdan nodded and then asked worriedly, what about the imperial families? The power of the imperial families wasn't any weaker than the 5 great families. Grandpa, don't worry. The status of the 5 great families and the imperial families are very different. So far, only the Western Light Empire is under the Su family's absolute control. As for the others, the Su family hasn't completely succeeded yet. But the bait set by the Su family this time is quite big. Lung Ruoxue didn't expect those people to care so much about the spots for the Mystic Realm. But the other 3 empires were not as strong as the Eastern Lagoon Empire and Southern Dusk Empire, so she was not too worried. The ones that were harder to deal with were those few great families. Shuer, you are still young and don't understand what the spots for the Mystic Realm mean to others, Lung Qingtian said with a sigh. Shuer might not know, but he knew very well. For thousands of years, the prominent families would reshuffle prior to every opening of the Mystic Realm. Take their Lung family, for example. In the past, the Lung family was once a top family of the Ling Feng continent. But later on, they declined and only rose again in his generation. Therefore, he felt very deeply about this. Grandpa, yes group, don't worry. Grandpa will send them back in a few days. Lung Qingtian understood what his granddaughter meant. At the same time, he knew very well that with his relationship with Old Yu, if he told Old Yu, that old man would definitely stay to help. But for this matter, he couldn't and didn't want to involve them. Chapter 172, Encountering the Men in Black Again, 1. Grandpa, I'm going to see Gui Yong and Gui Chang. Lung Ruoxue nodded and left Lung Qingshan's study. Lung Ruoxue arrived at the yard where Gui Yong and his brother were staying. Just as she entered the yard, she saw the 2 brothers arguing with their faces red, and they were about to start a fight. What are you doing? Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly and approached them. Guiyong snorted, rolled his eyes at Guichang, and said to Leng Ruoxue, "Junior aunt, you came at the right time. Please be the judge." "What are you arguing about?" Leng Ruoxue was curious. "Is this about artificing? I want to refine artifacts," but he insisted on giving his opinions. Guichang explained angrily. "The materials you put in were wrong." "Of course I have to say it," Guiyong said matter-of-factly. He didn't think he was wrong. "That's my business. I can put in any material of mine whenever I want." Guichang immediately retorted, not backing down at all. "You two want to fight just because of this matter?" Leng Ruoxue was really speechless. These two people together aren't young anymore. Can they not be so childish? "Umph." Both of them snorted and turned their heads away at the same time, ignoring each other. "I have something to discuss with you too." Leng Ruoxue changed the topic. She didn't intend to get involved in their fight. After all, every artificer's refining habits and techniques were different, so how could they be generalized? "What is it, junior aunt?" The two turned their heads simultaneously and looked at Leng Ruoxue with flattering expressions. "Is everything all right in your artificer association?" Leng Ruoxue asked implicitly. What she implied was that it was time for them to go back. Moreover, their gazes made her hair stand on end. It was really unbearable. Guiyong and Guichang looked at each other in bewilderment. They immediately understood that Leng Ruoxue was here to chase them away, but they didn't want to leave yet. "Don't worry, junior aunt. The Artificer Association is very free. Nothing major usually happens, and we don't have to deal with small things," Guiyong explained with a smile, automatically converting Leng Ruoxue's words into concern. "Yes, junior aunt. Rest assured. You don't need to worry about us," Guichang said cooperatively with a smile on his face. "These two people are obviously pretending to be stupid." Leng Ruoxue was a little speechless. What do they want? To be honest, they had stayed in the general's mansion for a few days, but they had rarely looked for her. This puzzled her. What is their goal? Leng Ruoxue had been thinking about this question for some time. "Oh, in that case, just stay here in peace." "I'm leaving," Leng Ruoxue said a little gloomily and then turned and left. Back at the Listening Snow Pavilion, Leng Ruoxue sat listlessly on a stone bench on the left side of the yard. "Schwer, what happened to you?" Freak asked with concern after walking over from the other side. "Schwer doesn't seem to be in a good mood. I wanted Guiyong and Guichang to leave first, but I didn't manage to do it. I underestimated their shamelessness," Leng Ruoxue said helplessly, her beautiful face full of worry. "Alas, how can I get those two to leave on their own?" She didn't want them to get involved in this matter. After all, the Artificer Association was different from the great families and the imperial families. "Why don't I just chase them away?" Freak suggested. Let him be the villain since Schwer was embarrassed. Leng Ruoxue frowned slightly and said after some thought, "Forget it. They can stay if they want. But we can't let them know about this." "Schwer, actually, if the Artificer Association can become our ally, the Su family will be much easier to deal with," Freak reminded. The Artificer Association was a formidable force. As long as the Artificer Association roared, many powerhouses would be willing to work for them. Of course, it was the same for the Alchemist Association and the Beast Trainer Association. The three major associations might not seem to be very strong on the surface, but their hidden strength was unfathomable. "Freak, I don't want them to get involved." In Leng Ruoxue's heart, her impression of the Artificer Association was much better than that of the Alchemist Association and the Beast Trainer Association. Moreover, she was very clear that as long as she said a word, Guiyong and Guichang would definitely not hesitate to side with her. But she felt that as an artificer, it was enough to focus on refining artifacts. There was no need to be embroiled in all these conspiracies. Moreover, she was afraid that this matter would be exposed, so she didn't want too many people to know. "Schwer, not all artificers, alchemists, and beast trainers are as virtuous as you think. Most of them still value fame and fortune," Freak explained. In this world, people lived for fame, fortune, and status. It was simply impossible to transcend worldliness, and few people could do it. "Let's continue. Freak, let's go to the palace," Leng Ruoxue said. She had to see how the old man's preparations were going. Freak nodded. They sat on Quill's back and flew toward the palace. After they arrived at the imperial palace, an old voice sounded just as Quill landed in the remote palace. "Little girl, you're here." "Old man, how are the preparations going?" Lung Ruoxue asked bluntly after jumping off Quill's back. "They're almost done." "What about your end?" the old man asked with concern. He had everything ready and just needed the time to be right. "Old man, I have something important to tell you," Lung Ruoxue whispered after looking around cautiously. "Little girl, can you not scare me? I'm old and my heart can't take it." Seeing Lung Ruoxue being so careful, the old man couldn't take it anymore. "What's so important that you're being so careful? Let's talk in the inner hall," Lung Ruoxue reminded. "Stinky old man, I'm going to scare you to death. Let's go." The old man led Lung Ruoxue and Freak into the inner hall. "Little girl, can you tell me now?" the old man said anxiously. "This girl is really too evil. She deliberately whetted my appetite. How despicable." Chapter 173. Encountering the men in black again, 2. Seeing that the old man was getting anxious, Lung Ruoxue didn't beat around the bush and told him the news she had heard in the Southern Dusk Empire. "Little girl, is this news accurate?" The old man's eyes widened in shock as he looked at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief. Lung Ruoxue nodded. When the emperor of the Southern Dusk Empire told them these things, he was afraid that they wouldn't believe him, so he established a contract. The binding power of contracts in this world was very terrifying, so the news was absolutely trustworthy. Moreover, she believed that the other imperial families and the great families would definitely have heard about it. "I really didn't expect the Su family to be so ambitious." The old man was a little angry but also a little helpless. It was no secret that the Su family was ambitious. But which top force was not ambitious? It was simply unrealistic. Thus, as long as the Su family didn't provoke them, no great family or imperial family would be willing to deal with the Su family. After all, others would only benefit from it if there was an internecine outcome with the Su family. "Haven't there been signs for a long time?" Lung Ruoxue said lightly. The Su family had long stretched their tentacles to the various imperial families and great families, even to the major academies. Moreover, their ambition was exposed in advance this time because they wanted to deal with her. "Then what should we do now?" the old man couldn't help asking. Yes, even though they knew about the Su family's restless ambitions a long time ago, no one had ever thought of dealing with the Su family. However, the Su family's wings were probably already hard now. Alas, what a miscalculation. It's not too late to deal with them now. Lung Ruoxue smiled gently to console him. To be honest, she didn't expect the Su family to accidentally reveal all their forces in order to obtain spots for the mystic realm. Is this considered penny wise, pound foolish? "Little girl, do the other 4 great families know about this?" the old man asked curiously, his face full of anticipation. "They should know more or less, but it's definitely not as clear as the investigation by the Southern Dusk Empire. I have already sent people to inform them. As for whether they believe it or not, it's not up to me," Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. The Feng and Hua families would definitely believe her, but she couldn't guarantee the same for the Yi and Shui families. After all, both families had people who disliked her. Moreover, they wanted so badly to obtain spots to enter the mystic realm that they would probably be blinded by benefits. "I'm relieved as long as the 5 great families don't unite." The old man touched his heart slightly and seemed to be relieved. "It's hard to say. After all, the person they want to deal with now is me, not you for the time being." Lung Ruoxue added fuel to the fire. At the same time, she gave the old man a heads up in case he didn't take it seriously. "Little girl, can't you let this poor old man heave a sigh of relief first?" The old man glared at Lung Ruoxue in complaint. "Old man, don't you want a spot for the mystic realm?" Lung Ruoxue suddenly asked. "Of course I want it, but you're worried about your descendants?" Lung Ruoxue asked. This old man was already at peak spiritual supremacy, so she didn't believe that he had stayed in the palace because he couldn't break through. "Little girl, if there was someone as smart as you among my descendants, I wouldn't be so worried anymore, the old man said helplessly. The Eastern Lagoon Empire was the headquarters of their Li family, so he couldn't lose it. The children and grandchildren will have their own happiness. If they don't live up to expectations, do you want to take care of them for life? How long can you take care of them? Lung Ruoxue said in disapproval. If the descendants were disappointing, the items left behind by the ancestors would be destroyed sooner or later, regardless of how much they left behind. Little girl, I'm not as open-minded as you think. The old man sighed. That's why you look so old, Lung Ruoxue suddenly said. What does this have to do with my appearance being old? The old man was stunned and puzzled. You worry too much. This girl is teasing me. The old man was speechless. Old man, we're leaving. The operation will begin in 3 days. Lung Ruoxue pulled Freak onto Quill's back and disappeared with a whoosh. Lung Ruoxue and Freak quickly returned to the general's mansion. Freak, rest early today, Lung Ruoxue said to him from the entrance of the listening snow pavilion. They had almost not had a good rest these few days. Swear, I will miss you, Freak said affectionately with a nod. Be good and go back to your room to sleep quickly, Lung Ruoxue said as she walked into her room. The door closed behind her. Oh Swear, why are you so unromantic? Freak couldn't help thinking while looking at the closed door. 3 days passed quickly. Late at night, Lung Ruoxue and Freak met up with the old man in the palace. Old man, go with the emperor. Big sister Mo and I will go together. We have to capture all of them in one fell swoop. Don't let any fish escape the net, Lung Ruoxue reminded and casually handed them a bottle of pills. This medicine was newly concocted by her, and the effects were absolutely several times better than the one she gave Fu Mingzhu back then. Tonight, their goal was to get rid of the minions planted by the Su family in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. Moreover, Grandpa Lin would make a move at the same time. Her grandfather had already gone to the Heavenly Phoenix Academy to help him. Don't worry. I won't let a single fish go, Li Yuan promised. How could he let someone who threatened his rule live in this world? After distributing the tasks, Lung Ruoxue and the others split up into 2 groups and headed straight for the Mo family and the Fu family. Lung Ruoxue, Freak, and Mo Yingyue soon arrived at the Mo family mansion. Under Mo Yingyue's lead, the 3 of them quickly arrived at the room where the patriarch of the Mo family lived. Big sister Mo, what do you plan to do with them? Lung Ruoxue asked softly before entering the room. She arranged for Mo Yingyue to come to the Mo family in hopes that she could handle her family matters herself. I want them to suffer a fate worse than death, Mo Yingyue said with hatred. In fact, she hated her grandfather, the patriarch of the Mo family, the most. Second in line was her self-righteous and arrogant uncle. But she knew that now was not the time to kill them. Their goal tonight was only to control them. Chapter 174, Encountering the Men in Black Again, 3, Then let's go in now. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She liked the punishment of living a life worse than death. Okay. Mo Yingyue pushed open the door and entered first. Why are you here? Patriarch Mo, who was about to go to bed, was surprised that no one notified him that his granddaughter, the Empress, came. These servants are really negligent. What? Grandfather, can't I be here? Mo Yingyue said indifferently with a sweet smile on her face. Of course not. What I mean is, why didn't anyone notify me? Patriarch Mo said while suppressing the anger in his heart. If it wasn't for Master not wanting me to start a conflict with the imperial family now, would I be so easygoing? It would have taken too long to notify, Mo Yingyue explained. The guards and servants in the yard were probably sleeping soundly now. Then why did you come to see grandfather? Patriarch Mo asked as he sat on a chair. Yes, there's something. Oh, and these 2 are? Patriarch Mo's gaze suddenly turned to Lung Ruoxue and Freak. He actually couldn't see their cultivation levels? It was too strange. He was a spiritual sovereign at any rate, so he would never believe that these 2 beautiful little fellows who looked less than 20 years old would be stronger than him. Didn't grandfather want to see Lung Ruoxue? I brought her here, Mo Yingyue said with a smile. You are Lung Ruoxue? Patriarch Mo was shocked. Is she so strong that even I can't tell her cultivation level? Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded lightly and casually sized up the patriarch of the Mo family. Patriarch Mo was about 70 years old. He had an ordinary appearance, a pair of shrewd eyes, and decent strength. He was an advanced spiritual sovereign. But her impression of him wasn't good. Moreover, she really hated his scheming eyes. Oh, so it's Miss Lung. This old man was rude. I have long heard of Miss Lung's great name. It's a pity that I haven't been able to meet you all this time. Patriarch Mo said with a flattering face. Big sister, let's get down to business. Lung Ruoxue said directly to Mo Ingyue without even looking at Patriarch Mo. Grandfather, I'm here today to ask you to give up your position as the patriarch, Mo Ingyue said coldly, as if what she said was an ordinary thing. What did you say? Patriarch Mo was so angry that his face turned livid. How could he have such an unfilial granddaughter? I want grandfather to give up your position as the patriarch, Mo Ingyue repeated patiently. She knew that the old patriarch and Ruoxue decided not to kill anyone from the Mo family because of her. Since that was the case, she certainly couldn't disappoint them. She had to take control of the Mo family. You unfilial grandchild. Guards! Chase her out. The Mo family no longer welcomes her. Patriarch Mo shouted out directly. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling, and he was breathing heavily. Grandfather, calm down, Mo Ingyue said with concern. She went forward, pinched her grandfather's mouth, and threw a pill into it. Cough cough. What did you feed me? Patriarch Mo clutched his throat in panic, trying to spit out the pill. But the pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth, and it was long gone. Don't worry. It's not poison. It won't kill, Mo Ingyue said nonchalantly. She didn't know how long Ruoxue's medicine could last. Should I give him a few more? Big sister Mo, one pill is enough, Lung Ruoxue said with some amusement after seeing through Mo Yingyu's thought. The person who took her newly concocted controlling pill wouldn't wake up at all unless given an antidote. Oh, grandfather, pass me the position of patriarch now. Mo Ingyue tried asking curiously. Okay, I'll pass it to you, Patriarch Mo said obediently. You will announce this news tomorrow morning. Exterminate all those who oppose you, Mo Ingyue ordered and then left Patriarch Mo's room. Okay, kill all those who oppose without mercy. Patriarch Mo promised fiercely. The three of them then left Patriarch Mo's room. Then Mo Ingyue did the same to her uncle and the elders in the family. In less than an hour, the entire Mo family was in Mo Yingyu's hands. Big sister Mo, I didn't expect you to be so devious, Lung Ruoxue teased on the way out of the Mo family mansion. Big sister Mo is so bad. She actually ordered Mo Changhe not to touch any woman for the rest of his life. There's no graver punishment for him, Mo Ingyue explained with a smile. That uncle of hers loved women the most. Forcing him never to touch women in his life was definitely more unbearable than killing him. However, Ruoxue, will they really listen to me? Mo Ingyue couldn't help asking. Did Ruoxue make this medicine sound too amazing? Of course. Big sister Mo, you have to have confidence in me. This young lady is an honest child. I don't know how to deceive others. I absolutely won't lie to anyone, Lung Ruoxue promised while patting her chest. At the side, Freak quietly listened to the conversation between the two women. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead, and his heart kept skipping. Women are really too scary. I can't let these two women meet frequently in the future, or else men will be in danger. When they arrived at the meeting place, Lung Ruoxue found out that her group was the fastest. Will Grandpa and the old man be okay? She couldn't help worrying. After a while, Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang arrived. Grandpa Lin, why did you take so long? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Swear, we encountered a team of men in black again at the Chen family. If old Lin and I hadn't teamed up, we might not have been able to leave, Lung Qingtian explained. Men in black. Speaking of men in black, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help thinking of the man in black they encountered before the academy competition. Oh no, let's go to the Fu family. Lung Ruoxue suddenly said. Her grandfather and the others had encountered the men in black, so the old man's group might have also encountered them. Moreover, the old man's group was far weaker than her grandfather's group. Chapter 175. Encountering the men in black again. 4. Ruoxue, will anything happen to Yuan and the old patriarch? Mo Ingyue asked anxiously. Let's go quickly. We may still be in time, Lung Ruoxue said to Mo Ingyue, who was so nervous that her limbs were a little cold. After Lung Ruoxue and the others rushed to the Fu family, it was as they had imagined. The old man was fighting with several men in black, and he had also released his spirit beasts. One was protecting the injured Li Yuan, and the other was fighting with the other men in black. Old man, why are you so unlucky to meet so many men in black? Lung Qinggan teased happily when he saw the disheveled appearance of the aloof old patriarch. This old man actually met twice as many men in black as them. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and help. The old man, who was dodging the attacks of the men in black from left to right, roared angrily. He couldn't let any of these people run away. Otherwise, tonight's plan would be considered a failure. But after seeing Lung Qingtian and the others come, he was finally relieved. I'm coming. Lung Qingtian jumped up, floated in the air, and released Thunder Knight. Thunder Knight, go help those beasts. Lung Qingtian instructed and then directly joined the battle. His participation instantly relieved the pressure on the old man. Yes, master, Thunder Knight replied. He gently flapped his wings and directly pounced at a man in black. Yuan, are you okay? At this moment, Mo Ingyue no longer cared about the danger and ran to Li Yuan's side worriedly. Her eyes welled up with tears in anxiousness. Yue, I'm fine. Don't worry. Li Yuan hugged his beloved wife tightly and comforted her. How can you be fine after losing so much blood? Mo Ingyue didn't believe Li Yuan's words at all as tears rolled down her cheeks. It's not all my blood. Really, trust me, Li Yuan coaxed helplessly. Suddenly, Li Yuan saw a cold light flash before his eyes. Without thinking, he pulled Mo Ingyue into his arms tightly and shielded her with his body. Mo Ingyue had no idea what was happening behind her, but she felt that something was amiss when Li Yuan pulled her into his arms. Thinking of this, she couldn't help exclaiming in concern, Yuan. Swish. The cold light was shot down by a bright red light. Don't be scared. I'm fine. Li Yuan patted Mo Yingyu's back gently to console her. His eyes drifted to Lung Ruoxue, who was not far away, with gratitude in them. He knew that he would have definitely died if Lung Ruoxue hadn't released a wisp of spiritual power in time. Lung Ruoxue only nodded slightly when she received Li Yuan's gaze. But seeing the two of them talking to each other affectionately, she couldn't help being a little exasperated. Alas, as expected of a loving husband and wife, please choose somewhere less dangerous. The spirit beasts, who were unwilling to be the third wheel, still shamelessly stayed close to them to protect them. Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze back to the battlefield. The weakest among this group of men in black were actually advanced spiritual sovereigns, and two were spiritual supremacies. When did the Su family cultivate such a group of experts that resembled death warriors? Probably no one knew about it, right? On the battlefield, Lung Qingtian, Lin Liang, and the old man were engaged in a fierce battle with the men in black. All sorts of spiritual power could be seen flying in the moonlight, but some of the men in black seemed to be unwilling to continue fighting and were looking for opportunities to escape. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue let out all her beasts. Watch them. Don't let any of them escape. Don't worry, master. With me here, none of them will be able to run away, Rise said confidently. He then enlarged his body, becoming like an iron wall surrounding the entire battlefield. Damn, it's actually another divine beast. Lin Liang, who was fighting with the men in black, unintentionally caught a glimpse of the huge golden python and was so shocked that his jaw almost fell off. How many divine beasts does this girl have? He was speechless. Yes, a divine beast. The old man was also surprised. This aura couldn't be wrong. Moreover, he also felt that his beasts were a little afraid. Old Lung, how many divine beasts does Ruoxue have? Lin Liang found time to ask during the fight. It was really infuriating to compare yourself with others. Some people might not even have one divine beast in their lifetime, but Leng Ruoxue had at least two. Alas. I'm a little envious of the girl's good luck. I don't know either. Leng Qingtian pretended not to know. How could someone as kind as him scare them to death? Qingyan, I'm so envious of you. Why doesn't our Li family have such a descendant? The old man complained, feeling uncomfortable. Just be envious. Leng Qingtian said proudly as he casually killed another man in black. Under the combined attack of the three spiritual supremacies, more than half of the men in black died quickly, and the ones who were not dead were injured. Slowly, the men in black died one by one, and only the two men in black at the spiritual supremacy level remained on the scene. One of the men in black knew that they wouldn't be able to escape today and couldn't help saying, "How can three spiritual supremacies bully us with numbers? So what if we're bullying you with numbers? Weren't you bullying us with numbers just now?" The old man asked in return. They actually wanted to use such a tactic against them? It was useless. There's no need to say so much to them. Let's attack together, Leng Qingtian said straightforwardly. Okay, let's do it together and end the battle quickly. Lin Liang agreed. They could go home and sleep after the fight. How can we miss out on the gang fight? Leng Ruoxue and Freak also came over. Ruoxue, don't snatch from us, Lin Liang said with some dissatisfaction. Their old bones hadn't had a good workout for a long time. Master, leave these two to us. A little black fox jumped into Leng Ruoxue's arms and acted coquettishly. He hadn't fought in a long time, and his claws were itchy. Leng Ruoxue looked at them speechlessly. Why do these people like to fight so much? All right, fight together then. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Then she turned around and left the battlefield with Freak. Chapter 176. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 1. Soon, 3 old men and the numerous spiritual beasts worked together to kill the enemy's spiritual supremacies instantly, and there weren't even any corpses left. Old man, how did you meet the men in black? Did the matter with the Fu family not succeed? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. It was a success. After we gained control of the Fu family, we somehow alerted these men in black. We didn't even know where they came from before we started fighting. Fortunately, you came in time, or the news would have definitely leaked, the old man said worriedly. How dangerous. We also encountered men in black. Leng Qingtian looked at the old man sympathetically. You encountered them too? Then you're really fast, the old man said enviously. He was the only spiritual supremacy on his side, and he had to take care of Li Yuan, so fighting had been a little difficult. We didn't meet as many men in black as you, Lin Liang explained. Actually, we once killed a man in black before the academy competition. Leng Ruoxue glanced at them and explained to them about the encounter with the man in black that day. Does this mean that these men in black have been sneaking into the Eastern Lagoon Empire for some time? It's just that we didn't realize it all along. The old man said worriedly. Although these men in black were death warriors, they had their own thoughts, so they were difficult to deal with. I think these people are here to deal with me, but they treated the residences of the Fu and Qin families as temporary accommodations, Leng Ruoxue analyzed. It seemed like she needed to go to the Southern Dusk Empire again. Then the Mo family. The old man looked at Mo Ingyue and stopped speaking. Leng Ruoxue frowned and guessed after thinking, not at the Mo family. I guess they don't trust the Mo family yet. Everyone nodded in agreement. Everyone, tonight's business is over. Let's go back first. Leng Qingtian said when he saw that it was almost dawn. Let's go back. Then everyone left the Fu family mansion. After returning to the general's mansion, Leng Ruoxue and the others went straight to their rooms to rest. After waking up the next morning, Leng Ruoxue went to look for her grandfather. She discussed the matter with him in detail and then went to the Southern Dusk Empire with Freak. After they arrived at the Southern Dusk Empire, Leng Ruoxue and Freak went straight to the palace to meet the emperor. In the imperial study, sitting on the dragon throne, Huang Fuzhen was deep in thought about what Leng Ruoxue just said. The empress was sitting next to him, also deep in thought. Meanwhile, after Leng Ruoxue and Freak finished speaking, they were resting on chairs while having tea and snacks. Ruoxue, have you settled everything in the Eastern Lagoon Empire? Huang Fuzhen asked with a frown after some thought. The Eastern Lagoon Empire really acted fast. Yes, that's why I came specially to help you, Leng Ruoxue said after taking a sip of tea. If not for the appearance of the men in black, she probably wouldn't have thought of coming to the Southern Dusk Empire to help them. Then when do we start? Huang Fuzhen asked. He had endured the Su family for many years and had long wanted to take action. But he didn't dare to act rashly before he was absolutely confident. The day after tomorrow. I want to visit the Hua family tomorrow, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. There had been no news from the Hua family since she sent the news out, so she wanted to confirm it in person. It would be best if she could rope the Hua family in. But if the Hua family wanted to become enemies with her, she didn't care. Okay, the day after tomorrow then. They'll get someone to arrange a place for you to stay, Huang Fuzhen said warmly. The matter that had been weighing on his mind for so many years was about to be resolved, and he felt much more relaxed. Thank you for your kind intentions, Your Majesty. Our current inn is fine, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. She was afraid that the news would leak if she stayed in the palace. What if the Su family's spies found out? Wouldn't the Su family be on their guard? Your Majesty, we will take our leave first, Leng Ruoxue continued, and then left the imperial palace with Freak. After returning to the inn, Freak followed Leng Ruoxue directly into her room. Swear, are we really going to the Hua family tomorrow? He couldn't help asking after they sat down. He didn't want to go to the Hua family. What do you mean by that? We will save a lot of effort if we can pull them to our side. They are the first great family, and their strength can't be underestimated after all, Leng Ruoxue explained. But Freak was very unwilling. But are you still thinking about what happened last time? No one knows that we did it. What are you afraid of? Leng Ruoxue teased softly. Freak is really too cute. I'm not afraid. Freak quickly denied with a slightly awkward expression. How could he be afraid of such a small thing? He just didn't want to have anything to do with the Hua family. That damn Huaqing was always eyeing his schwerer so covetously. Since you're not afraid, rest early today. Well, go see the Hua family tomorrow morning. Leng Ruoxue didn't expose him. She only smiled slightly and struck while the iron was hot. Freak nodded and then returned to his room to rest very consciously. The next morning, Leng Ruoxue woke up, washed up, and went to find Freak. After breakfast, they went straight to the Hua family's main residence. In the main hall of the Hua family residence, Hua Yi sat on the patriarch's seat, and the elders of the Hua family sat on both sides of him. Patriarch, it's best for us to decide early on this matter, the first elder sitting below Hua Yi urged anxiously. If they waited for the Su family to finish making preparations, it would probably be difficult to deal with them. Yes. First elder is right, one of the elders echoed. Patriarch, I think it's best for our 4 families to discuss this together. Otherwise, if we're the only ones standing against the Su family, and both our families suffer an internecine outcome, wouldn't it be letting others benefit? Another elder said in disapproval. Sitting in the main seat, Hui did not say a word and listened to the elders' discussion expressionlessly. The Hua family could now be said to be divided into 2 factions because of this matter. One faction was led by the first elder and was in favor of striking first to gain the upper hand. The other faction was led by his younger brother and didn't agree to deal with the Su family now. Chapter 177. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 2. Patriarch, Leng Ruoxue wants to see you. A servant walked in to report. Leng Ruoxue? What is she doing here? An elder murmured. Invite her in. Hua Yi ordered coldly. Yes, Patriarch. The servant left the hall. Hello, Patriarch Hua, Leng Ruoxue said courteously as she walked into the meeting hall under the servant's lead. Hua Yi nodded and said very politely, Miss Leng, long time no see. Please have a seat. Miss Leng, may I know what brings you here? The first elder couldn't help asking curiously. He had a very good impression of Leng Ruoxue and had always hoped that the Hua family would have a mistress like her. Unfortunately, she wasn't interested in their young master. Alas! What a pity! Hear about the Su family. Lung Ruoxue cut straight to the chase and observed the reactions of the people sitting. The Su family? The elders exchanged glances, but no one spoke. They were all waiting for her to continue. Lung Ruoxue glanced coldly at Hui and the elders sitting there and cursed in her heart. What cunning old foxes! She then continued, I want to deal with the Su family. I wonder if the Hua family has any intentions of cooperating. What can you offer for this cooperation with our Hua family? We are the first great family on the Ling Feng continent, an elder took the lead to say. Apart from being the first great family, how many spiritual supremacies does your Hua family have now? Lung Ruoxue asked instead of answering. To be honest, others might care about the Hua family's status, but she didn't care at all. After all, she just needed to bring out one divine beast casually, and it would be enough to cause the Hua family no small amount of trouble. The elder fell silent. There were 2 spiritual supremacies in the Hua family, but only the patriarch of the Hua family was at home. The other, the former patriarch of the Hua family, had long since disappeared. I'm here to cooperate with you with sincerity. I don't care if you don't cooperate with me because of your high status. But I have to say this first. If we cooperate now, our relationship will be equal. But if you want to cooperate with me in the future, that may not be the case, Lung Ruoxue said half seriously, half threateningly. The best way to deal with such self-important families was to crush them with imposing manner. Miss Lung, you want to cooperate with us to deal with the Su family, and the Su family wants to cooperate with us to deal with you. The Su family's offer is very generous. I wonder what conditions you will offer? Another elder, who was very calculative, said. I will not make any offers. I don't care if you want to cooperate with the Su family to deal with me. I just hope that you won't regret it later. Lung Ruoxue's cold eyes glanced at the elder who spoke just now, then looked around at the other elders with a smile that was not a smile, and finally looked at Hui. After staring at Hui for a few seconds, Lung Ruoxue averted her gaze and turned to Freak. Since the Hua family isn't sincere in cooperating, let's not waste time. Let's go. Freak said expressionlessly and stood up. Hey, Miss Lung. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue and Yichen really left, the first elder glanced at Hui, then stood up and chased after them. Miss Lung. The first elder caught up with Lung Ruoxue and looked at them apologetically. What's the matter, first elder? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. I hope you don't mind what happened just now, the first elder said awkwardly. He never knew that a little girl could make him feel so stressed. First elder, I'm very petty. Since the Hua family looks down on me and isn't willing to cooperate with me, then forget it, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. But she knew that the Hua family probably wouldn't cooperate with the Su family. Plotting with the Su family for benefits was definitely a dead end. Hui wasn't that stupid. After saying what she wanted to say, Lung Ruoxue and Freak left the Hua family's main residence under the first elder's helpless gaze. Swear, this Hua family really doesn't know what's good for them. They will regret it in the future, Freak said indignantly on the way back to the inn. Freak, I'm not angry. You don't have to console me like this, Lung Ruoxue said, a little touched. Hee, it's good that you're not angry. Freak smiled, not caring that Shuesa had seen through him. Shue's understanding of me is getting better and better. After watching Lung Ruoxue and Yichen leave, the first elder returned to the meeting hall. Patriarch, are we really not choosing to cooperate with Lung Ruoxue? The first elder asked directly after sitting down in his seat. First elder, Lung Ruoxue is just a little girl. What qualifications does an ignorant little child have to cooperate with our Hua family? An elder said disdainfully. Ignorant little child? Ninth elder, I'm afraid you're not Lung Ruoxue's opponent with your strength, the first elder berated while looking coldly at the ninth elder. These people of the Hua family had always been high and mighty for many years. They thought highly of themselves and looked down on others. How is this possible? I'm a peak spiritual sovereign. The ninth elder roared in disbelief. Wasn't the first elder exaggerating a little too much? You can choose not to believe. The first elder didn't bother to talk nonsense with them. Instead, he stared at Hui Yi and waited for the patriarch to decide. Let's wait and see first. Hui Yi slowly spat out these words. The Su family and Lung Ruoxue would have to face each other sooner or later, so he didn't intend to participate in their battle for the time being. To put it plainly, he wanted to be the fisherman that benefited from the fight. But he would find out later that fishing for benefits from Lung Ruoxue wasn't a good idea. After returning to the inn, Lung Ruoxue and Freak formulated a detailed plan to ensure that nothing would go wrong. The next day, Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to the Imperial Palace and met up with Huang Fuzhen, ready to attack at any moment as promised. Huang Fuzhen looked at the time and said to Lung Ruoxue, "Ruoxue, let's do it." Lung Ruoxue nodded. "You'll take care of Su Liana. Leave the men in black to us." Chapter 178. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 3. Quill, rise, you must guard the entire Imperial Palace. Lung Ruoxue ordered her beasts. Master, don't worry. Nothing will be able to get through us. Rise, who wrapped himself as a bracelet around Lung Ruoxue's snow-white wrist, promised. After arranging everything, Lung Ruoxue and Huang Fuzhen went to the Phoenix Dwell Palace where Su Liana lived. After entering the inner hall of the Phoenix Dwell Palace, Lung Ruoxue and the others couldn't help feeling a little awkward because Su Liana was sitting on a man with her clothes all over the place. Su Liana, who had been confined in her palace, was stunned when she suddenly saw so many people appear together. But she quickly recovered and hurriedly knelt on the ground. Your Majesty! Su Liana knelt while quickly sorting out her disheveled clothes with her hands. She seemed to be terrified in her heart, and her face was pitiful. She didn't expect the emperor to come suddenly and see such an inelegant side of her. Your Majesty, it seems noble consort Su is unwilling to be lonely and had an affair, Lung Ruoxue said mockingly while glancing at Su Liana and the man beside her. Sure enough, it was another man who resembled her father. Lung Ruoxue, it's you again. As soon as Su Liana saw Lung Ruoxue, intense hatred burst out of her eyes. Whenever she saw Lung Ruoxue, she would think of that slut who robbed her love. She really couldn't understand how she couldn't compare to that woman who had nothing. But why couldn't she obtain the heart of the man she loved? Do you hate my mother? Lung Ruoxue asked indifferently. Women who hated each other for love could do anything, and Su Liana just happened to be such a vicious woman. Yes, I hate her and wanted her dead. But why didn't only she die? Su Liana roared out of control with a hideous face. Back then, she had racked her brains to trick the Lung Lai couple into coming to the Southern Dusk Empire. She originally wanted to get rid of that slut, but she didn't expect to accidentally kill the man she loved. Because she had the protection of the man she loved, Lung Ruoxue reminded very kindly. No, Brother Lai didn't love her at all. He loved me. Su Liana seemed to be falling into her own memories crazily, and the past became her nightmare. Do you think we'll let you go just because you pretend to be crazy? Lung Ruoxue coldly exposed her. This woman was really too scheming, and leaving her alive would definitely cause a disaster. I can't believe I didn't trick you. Tell me, what do you want to do to me? Su Liana stood up from the ground arrogantly. Her terrified and pitiful appearance from before was nowhere to be seen. Since they already saw through her, she might as well stop pretending. She was a precious daughter of the Su family, so she didn't believe that the emperor would dare to kill her. Your Majesty, I really pity you, Lung Ruoxue suddenly said while looking at Huang Fuzhen. She has nothing to do with me, Huang Fuzhen said indifferently, without the slightest trace of anger from being cuckolded. Your Majesty, you said it has nothing to do with you? Then where did our daughter come from? Su Liana provoked. She hated it when men tried to distance themselves from her. Was she a virus? She's just a bastard. Huang Fuzhen's face was full of disgust. This woman was still acting at a time like this. How can you say that the daughter you've loved for 18 years is a bastard? You are really heartless. Su Liana laughed, her face full of pride and flaunting. I have never touched you. What is that daughter if not a bastard? I'm afraid you don't even know who her father is, do you? Huang Fuzhen mocked disdainfully. All these years, he had been forcing himself to love this mother and daughter all for today. Today, he was going to avenge his grandfather. No, how is this possible? I don't believe it. Su Lianer screamed in disbelief. You have to believe it, Huang Fuzhen said coldly and ignored her. Su Lianer, where are the people you sent to kill my parents now? Leng Ruoshu asked. Although Su Lianer was the mastermind, she didn't intend to let the murderers go either. Do you think I will tell you? You will never know. Ha. Su Lianer laughed hysterically, but her heart was extremely miserable. Ruoshue, she probably killed those people long ago. Don't underestimate this woman's obsession with your father, Huang Fuzhen quickly said, afraid that Leng Ruoshue would be affected by Su Lianer. Su Lianer, where are your people? Leng Ruoshue nodded and asked lightly. It made no difference to her whether Su Lianer said it or not. She wouldn't let anyone from the Su family go anyway. Your Majesty, do you really want to kill me? Su Lianer looked at Huang Fuzhen with gentle eyes. Is there any question about this? Huang Fuzhen asked with a look of disgust on his face. You will regret it. Ha. Su Lianer waved her hand, and a group of men in black emerged from all directions and surrounded Leng Ruoshue and the others. Leng Ruoshue narrowed her beautiful eyes, which released an icy cold glare and murderous intent. Finally out. She was really afraid that these people would hide in the corner and not come out. Otherwise, why would she talk so much nonsense with Su Lianer? Leng Ruoshue, don't worry. I will leave your corpse intact for the sake of Brother Lai, Su Lianer said very kindly, as if she had given Leng Ruoshue a great favor. Thank you, but I don't need it. I'll leave it to you. After speaking, Leng Ruoshue took out her sword and directly stabbed at the nearest few men in black. Wherever the sword energy went, fiery red spiritual power followed closely. The momentum was surging, and the cold air was threatening. Wherever the sword reached, countless men in black died or were injured. Seeing Leng Ruoshue attack without hesitation, Huang Fuzhen also drew his sword and stabbed at Su Lianer. But the man beside Su Lianer blocked it, causing him to miss. After Leng Ruoshue and Freak quickly dealt with all the men in black outside the hall, they returned to the inner hall and saw Huang Fuzhen and the others still fighting with the men in black in the hall, while Su Lianer stood by and watched coldly. Freak, go help them. Chapter 179. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 4. After speaking to Freak, Leng Ruoshue walked directly to Su Lianer's side and captured her in her hand. Leng Ruoshue, let go of me or you will regret it. Su Lianer struggled for a while and threatened when she saw that she couldn't break free. I'll regret it if I let you go. Leng Ruoshue took out a pill and stuffed it into Su Lianer's mouth. Cough cough. What did you feed me? Su Lianer asked in fright. Of course it's poison. Do you think I'll let you die so easily? How dare you? I am the eldest daughter of the Su family. How dare you? Su Lianer roared in disbelief. Leng Ruoshue was really too daring to treat her like this. I won't let her go. The eldest daughter of the Su family? I'm so scared. Leng Ruoshue directly knocked Su Lianer unconscious. I'm too lazy to listen to her rubbish. With Freak's help, Huang Fuzhen and the others quickly got rid of the men in black in the inner hall. Ruoshue, everyone is dead except for Su Lianer, Huang Fuzhen said to Leng Ruoshue after sending people to check. Leng Ruoshue nodded. With Quill around, no one could escape within a radius of 10,000 meters. Your Majesty, we will take our leave now that everything is settled. Leng Ruoshue motioned for Freak to carry Su Lianer. After speaking to Huang Fuzhen, the two jumped onto Quill's back and left the Southern Dusk Empire. At the general's mansion, Leng Qingtian was speechless as he looked at Su Lianer hanging in the air tied up with a rope. Did they drag Su Lianer back like this all the way? Leng Qingtian thought curiously. Grandpa, it's what you think. Leng Ruoshue saw through her grandfather's thoughts. Alas, there was no choice. Quill was unwilling to carry Su Lianer, and Freak was also unwilling to carry her all the time. Moreover, it was impossible for her to put Su Lianer in the heaven and earth bracelet, so she could only hang her and bring her back like this. Shuer, since you've brought her back, what are you going to do with her? Leng Qingtian asked curiously. This woman was too evil, and she had torn apart their Leng family, so he absolutely hated her to the core and didn't want her to die so easily. Grandpa, you can do whatever you want with her as long as you don't kill her, Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. She knew how her grandfather felt, so she would absolutely support him unconditionally no matter what he wanted to do. Okay, leave this woman to Grandpa, Leng Qingtian said happily. He had many ways to torture people, so he would definitely treat her well. Grandpa, have fun. Freak and I will go back to our rooms to rest. Leng Ruoxue yawned. She hadn't had a good night's sleep for several days and was very tired. Okay, go and rest, Leng Qingtian said quickly. After returning to her room, Leng Ruoxue went directly into the heaven and earth bracelet to rest. The spiritual energy inside was rich, and she could rest while cultivating. When Leng Ruoxue left the heaven and earth bracelet after resting enough, 2 days had passed. Shuer, you're so good at sleeping. Leng Qingtian teased his granddaughter when he saw her enter the dining room. He knew that she might stay in the bracelet, so he didn't let anyone disturb her. Grandpa, I'm so tired. Leng Ruoxue sat down with an innocent face. Alas, since Feng De and the others left Phoenix City, the mansion had become deserted. She didn't know what was happening with them. A few days ago, after Leng Ruoxue decided to sever the Su family's arm first, she asked the Feng family's first elder to arrange for people to go to the Northern Frost Empire while she sent Feng De and the others to the Central Universe Empire. After we settle the Su family, we'll let you have a good rest, Leng Qingtian said tenderly. Grandpa, how's Li Yuan? Leng Ruoxue asked with concern as she picked up a piece of dessert. He's fine now. But Shuer, you really gave a lot this time, Leng Qingtian said with some heartache. He didn't expect Shuer to be willing to give so many green spirit pills to old Lin and the old patriarch all at once. During critical times, strength is the most important. Moreover, green spirit pills are nothing to me. Since they were allies, Leng Ruoxue naturally couldn't be too stingy. Otherwise, her allies would only drag her down if they were too weak. That's true. Shuer, do you think Grandpa should also get a few level 9 holy beasts? Leng Qingtian couldn't help asking. If he only had one divine beast. Old Lin was originally very envious, but now that old fellow's holy beast had also advanced, and he actually had 2 divine beasts. Boo! Grandpa, you and Grandpa Lin aren't children anymore. How can you compare this kind of thing? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. These 2 old men added together were almost 200 years old. When would they grow up? Grandpa just doesn't feel balanced. I don't want to compete with him. Really? Leng Qingtian quickly and cautiously expressed his opinion, for fear that his precious granddaughter would be angry. Leng Ruoxue deliberately paused and said, Grandpa, wait until we meet a level holy beast and I'll let you contract it. Shuer, are you angry? Leng Qingtian couldn't help asking. That's a good thing. The stronger you are, the more at ease I will be. Leng Ruoxue was scared. She couldn't always protect her loved ones, so she wanted to improve their strength whenever she had the chance. This way, she would also be at ease even when she was not by their side. As for her brother, she would personally help her brother find the herbs after settling the Su family. Shuer, Grandpa, let's do it when Feng De and the others have news. Leng Ruoxue interrupted. Okay, let's get rid of the Su family as soon as possible. Then we can relax. The Su family was a big problem. The sooner they got rid of them, the better. 5 days later, the Feng family's first elder and Feng De sent a message back at the same time. It was settled. On the second day after the message came, Leng Ruoxue, the old man, Leng Qingtian, and others decided to go to the Su family's main residence in the Western Light Empire and eradicate the Su family in one fell swoop. After some discussion, they decided to let Lin Liang stay while the others went to the Western Light Empire. Grandpa Lin, I'll leave this place to you. Leng Ruoxue smiled at Lin Liang. Chapter 180. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 5. Don't worry. No one will have an opportunity to take advantage with me around, Lin Liang promised as he patted his chest. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She sat on Quill's back after everyone got on. Quill, let's go. Leng Ruoxue ordered and waved at Lin Liang. Yes, master. Quill flapped his huge wings, slowly rose into the sky, and disappeared into the horizon. On the way. Little girl, your eagle is really good. He flies fast and steadily, the old man said with envy. He also wanted such an eye-catching flying spirit beast. Old man, you already have so many spirit beasts. Aren't you satisfied? Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead. This old man is too greedy. How can humans be so easily satisfied? For spirit beasts, naturally the more powerful, the better. The old man said nonchalantly. Oh right, old man, tell me about the Su family's old patriarch. Leng Ruoxue asked after suddenly remembering. There was a spiritual supremacy old patriarch in each of the 5 great families and the imperial families. However, most of them would basically not take care of anything and would not appear unless there was something that would endanger the foundation of the family. That old thing isn't an old patriarch. His seniority is much lower than mine. The old man pursed his lips disdainfully. That old thing is very devious. He was the one who injured that old fellow of the Southern Dusk Empire. But his injuries were not light either. He's been hiding to recuperate for more than a decade. Little girl, do you know why the Su family was willing to compensate you with so many things before? The old man asked mysteriously. Why? Leng Ruoxue was curious. The Su family shouldn't be afraid of her family, right? The Su family had a spiritual supremacy. Of course, it's because… Forget it. I won't tell you first. You will know in the future. The old man paused to whet Leng Ruoxue's appetite and then decided not to say more. Damn old man, you tricked me. Leng Ruoxue said fiercely as she glared at the disrespectful old man. Hee little girl, this old man just wants to ease the tense atmosphere. Everyone is too nervous, the old man said with a chuckle, not taking it seriously. Swear, the patriarch of the Su family is indeed very devious. We have to deal with him carefully, Leng Qingtian said seriously. If it hadn't been for Su Lianer's father's obstruction, he would have killed her long ago. Grandpa, we will succeed, Leng Ruoxue said confidently. They had so many divine beasts. If they couldn't defeat the Su family, they should just kill themselves. Master, I won't let your enemies go. The little black fox lying quietly in Leng Ruoxue's arms took the opportunity to express his attitude and tried to curry favor. Good. Leng Ruoxue caressed his soft fur. Master, there's still me, Rise also said hurriedly. You're all good. Swear, what about me? Freak, who had been acting as a cushion for Swear, also stuck his head out. You're good too, Leng Ruoxue coaxed as she caressed Freak's head like she was petting it. Your house must be very lively, the old man said to Leng Qingtan with a chuckle as he watched the competition for favor. This isn't the most lively time yet. Leng Qingtian sighed. His granddaughter was so popular. They chatted and laughed along the way. After flying for 4 days, Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the borders of the Western Light Empire. The Su family's main residence was in Salt City, the capital of the Western Light Empire. It was in the afternoon when they entered Salt City. But Leng Ruoxue and the others didn't look for an inn in the city but set up tents on the outskirts of Salt City. After dinner, everyone went into their tents to rest. After a good rest, it was already nighttime. Little girl, let's go, the old man said impatiently. His target today was that old thing from the Su family. Leng Ruoxue looked at the sky and nodded. Let's go. On Quill's back, they soon arrived at the Su family's main residence. Ling, call the Su family out. Leng Ruoxue ordered lightly. She didn't want to deal with the Su family in secret anymore because she came specially to cause a scene today. The fate of the Su family was destined. Yes, master. Rise, who was coiled around Leng Ruoxue's wrist, quickly enlarged his body and swung his divine flood dragon tail. The The Su family's seemingly tall and sturdy courtyard walls collapsed one after another like paper with a loud bang. After Rise finished all of this, he transformed back and wrapped himself around Lung Ruox's wrist again. He didn't forget to rub against her coquettishly, looking like he was trying to please her. Well done. Lung Ruoxue praised generously. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? A furious roar sounded from the Su family residence just as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking. Swish, swish, swish. Immediately after, several figures appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Subsequently, the other people of the Su family also appeared one after another. Who are you? How dare you come to our Su family to cause trouble? The middle-aged man leading the group questioned angrily. Especially when he saw the sturdy courtyard wall of his house collapsed into a pile like mud, he became even angrier, and his anger surged to his head. We wouldn't have if you aren't the Su family. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently as her beautiful eyes drifted to the middle-aged man who spoke. This middle-aged man looked to be about 50 years old, and his facial features were fairly handsome. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes, and there was a hint of viciousness in his eyes. He was tall and strong, and he was an advanced spiritual sovereign. Lung Ruoxue knew that if she was not mistaken, this person should be the acting patriarch of the Su family, Su Qian. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the reactions of the two parties were completely different. On the old man's side, there were several with a few black lines hanging on their foreheads. And most of them were thinking, this girl is really arrogant. As for the Su family, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. These people actually deliberately came to cause trouble. They really don't want their lives anymore. You damn girl! State your name if you dare! Su Qian roared with a dark face. His vicious eyes released a perverted gaze as he looked up and down Lung Ruoxue lustfully. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.